Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Cleveland, Ohio, I give you BVO.
Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know, shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know, every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know, I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show, this is BVO.
On behalf of BVO Sports TV, we would like to thank our sponsor, Raycon, makers of the Raycon Everyday Earbuds, the perfect model for premium sound with active noise cancellation to block out distractions and transparency mode to keep you aware of your surroundings. They are the ideal for your everyday needs. Just visit RayconGlobal.com. That's RayconGlobal.com and elevate your listening experience. Welcome to BVO Sports TV. In association with Brent Wade Holdings, the content you're about to see includes opinions, stories, and discussions created for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed do not reflect the official policy or position of BVO Sports TV or Brent Wade Holdings, LLC. Viewers and listeners are encouraged to think critically and form their own opinions.
Yo,
Up in here. Thank God Almighty.
Strike, red lightning! Give power to my nigger sword!
That's crazy.
What's up? It's your boy BBO Sports TV. We back. Salute to my brother Juan, K Paso Juan. Salute to my brother, man. K Paso hermano. All right, we got a big show today. Big show. Can't wait to do it. Got some good people coming through. But we got to talk about it, man. We got probably the greatest fighter, actively, Shakur Stevenson. And you got young guy from New York, Teofimo Lopez, getting ready to go against a monster. Some will say a Godzilla. What do you think about Tio going against one of the greatest fighters that ever lived, Shakur Stevenson?
I'm happy for it. But you know how Tio is, so we got to see if he even going to show up, pull out, so if the fight go through, then I'm happy. Like, you know what I mean? Boxing's in the good spot. We got some good fights coming up. So if that fight actually happens and they step in the ring with each other, come on, man.
Oh, let's get his money, man. I'm just saying, I'm a little different than most because when we beat him, I want full credit. So I want you guys to know Shakur Stevenson is the baddest man on the planet. People scared of him. Just a monster. And I just thank God that Teofimo Lopez getting an opportunity to fight such a great fighter, man. So, I'm a little different than probably a lot of you people y'all watch where I'm not going to dog the fighter he's fighting because we fighting a monster. I want us to get full credit. I tell you like this, when it comes to my man, Shakur Stevenson, he's fast. We seen it as a pay to fight. He can bang, fight on the inside, fight on the outside. I mean, this brother's going for 4-time, 4-division champion. So, I mean, we kind of got to give him his just due. He's a monster, man. He's a monster. So, y'all going to hear BVO give him full credit. Shakur Stevenson is an absolute beast. Look to my brother, TD Sports, man. Appreciate you.
TV.
But I'll say this. I just think this
insane.
When it comes to, this is my thoughts on it. I think this is a 60-40 fight. I know a lot of people love to, be funny. But I think Shakur is one of the best fighters in the world, and I just think I can't wait till we put hands and feet on him, man. So I just don't want y'all to don't talk about Shakur like a dog. We're not gonna do him like y'all did my beloved brother Brian Norman, where y'all dog him and talk crazy, and then y'all can't give Devin his credit. We're gonna give Tio full credit. We fighting Godzilla. We fighting one of the best fighters that ever lived. So some say Floyd Mayweather Jr. Jr. I don't know. I just know this. When we beat him, I don't want to hear nothing about Teofimo Lopez. He's the best, the greatest fighter that we got since Floyd Mayweather Jr. And I just want him to be this just do with it, man, because a lot of people hating, man. You know, Biggie said it best, brothers talking it, but ain't living it. T.O.'s living this thing, man. He's the best in the world, and he about to fight the best in the world. So shout out to my guy, Shakur Stevenson, a.k.a. Floyd Jr., whatever y'all want to call him, the biggest, baddest Puerto Rican nigga y'all could find. We said, bring him here. Bring him here. We not scared. He said,
That's crazy.
Bring the nigga here. That's what we said. So, you know, one thing we're going to do, we're going to have fun, man. Shout out, man, to everybody and anybody showing love, man. But, hey, that's your opinion. The same, you know, haters say
I don't think he's trash, but he ain't.
Yeah.
He can't beat Shakur. I don't think he can beat Stevenson.
I'll put it like this. When your guy become a 2-time Ring Magazine champion, come back to me. Catch up, catch up.
You really believe that, don't you?
Catch up to him, baby. This is what we do. Shout out to T.O. Just think about it. We went from Roma, Josh Taylor, and we stepping right to Shakur Stevenson.
After he played games.
Hey, you can say what you want, man. It's a business decision, man. We got to do what's best. Hold on 1 second.
He getting the money now, though, right? So,
I don't think George Bittner would have beat Floyd. There's no way. Floyd would have beat him dead.
Who?
I can see why you say that. He's talking about a fighter from the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know my brother Prize. He don't go past 2001.
That's cap. That's complete cap.
Go past 2001, but
complete
I
cap.
just say this. I don't think you can beat Floyd because one thing about Floyd fight at really a lot of different levels, and Floyd's jab and footwork would have gave him hell. Because it's hard to hit Floyd. I mean, that's just what it was. I think people don't remember, like, Castillo is still remembered as the guy that almost beat Floyd. That'll tell you how good Floyd really is, when you got a guy who actually went around saying he almost beat him. He said my guy was undisputed champ. Hey, the WBC said we were undisputed champ, but they took it back. And
T.O.? Don't get up here and start doing that.
I get everybody want to hate and say different stuff like, oh, now he's not, or he didn't. But at the end of the day, Teofimo Lopez did what they asked him to do. He fought the guys. They said Loma was a champion, and he fought him. And hey, he didn't want to give Devin a shot. He chose his best. He said Hurricane breaks Canelo, makes him look like a boy. Hurricane Carter was small. So I don't know if that's the case.
Man, Hurricane would have destroyed them. Are you kidding me?
Because I know you just like talking in a vacuum. I'm talking about actual fights. Hurricane Carter was a little guy, so I don't think he would do that. Oh, we got my brother now. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Hey, what's up, BBO? Sorry, man. Sorry I'm a little late. I don't know what time you ended up starting.
Appreciate you coming through, man. Hey, you still got that Browns cap on for you, man. I know your Raiders has got beat dead.
Yeah, no, we suck, bro. We suck, but we're looking forward to losing to the Giants and then being the number 3 overall pick, bro. It's all about losing. We're firing all our coaches anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I tell you what, though, man, I'm excited that you came through because we get to talk some boxing. And, you know, me, I'm a little different than most. I don't want to take no credit from the opponent. What do you think about Teofimo Lopez going against probably one of the greatest fighters that ever lived in Shakur Stevenson?
Yo, I love it. I love that, you know, like these are the fights that when, you know, for us who's more of the boxing aficionado, hardcore fans, right? When we've been looking forward to something like this, and T.O.'s 28, Shakur's 28. They're in the prime peaks of their career. I love that Shakur's willing to do what Pernell Whitaker did and continue to just move up now, right? And actually for me, I know that, you know, it's going to be controversial. Like a lot of certain people will say one thing, hey, Shakur's going to do this, or another thing, hey, T.O.'s going to do this. But I think the fight's happening because both of them believe that they're going to be competitive against each other. I think that there's certainly a question that we're going to need to ask, which is, can Shakur continue to move up and show that same dominance? We know that he'll have the skill set, but can he have that dominance, right? And then the flip side of it is, other than if you really like finite look at T.O.'s career, other than his win against Lomachenko, and then maybe the win against Josh Taylor, right? Those would be like his two most significant wins. And there's always questions about Tio. There's the people who absolutely love him and believe he should be on pound for pound, and then there's the people who think he's more hype and only really shows up when the fights are hard. So he's fighting a pound for pound guy. He's fighting the pound for pound number 8 in Shakur. But yeah, man, totally excited for it. And I've had a lot of people in Raider Nation asking me about it, right? BVO, where they were asking me, hey, what should we expect? And I told them, I said, look, it'll be one of three fights that I could pull from in the past. And my hope, I hope it ends up being more like Pernell Whitaker versus De La Hoya, like hyped up that high. I hope it's like that. Or even like if it ends up being Pernell Whitaker versus James Buddy McGirt. Like those are the two I would love to see it. But I can honestly see this. Like, I'm not hating on Tia or nothing, but I just believe in Shakur so much. This could end up looking like when Pernell Whitaker whooped on Jorge Paez, bro. I mean, you remember that, right? You remember that.
That was ugly.
I'll say this though,
Yeah.
we should keep that same energy because we're talking about, Teofimo Lopez fighting the biggest, baddest Spanish brother they could find, and hey, bring him on. At the end of the day, when Tio beat him dead, I don't want to hear, oh, he could have did it. No, Tio's like Hector Camacho. The bigger the opponent, the more he shows up.
That's true.
It's the same thing with Salvador Sanchez. The better you are, the more he's going to beat your head in. So, I mean, if you look at Tio, like I said, he's a spitting image, not the same style, but very similar in how they show up in big fights. And we've seen him show up in big fights. Like, I remember the Josh Taylor. People forget. They said Josh Taylor was going to beat him dead. He went in there and styled him. He went in there and styled him and beat him from toe to post. And let's be honest, he fought a more dangerous Loma than Devin did. This is a Lomachenko who hadn't been through all the stuff he had been through, the surgeries and all that. This is Lomachenko that had everybody quitting on the stool, and Tio went in there and beat him. I mean, you can give him a little hesitance because Loma didn't start throwing punches to the 6th round, but hey, I don't know. All I can say is what we seeing what Tio's doing. I mean, aside from the disparaging comments, I got to speak to him, and I say this. This is the thing I said to everybody who want to judge, man. I done said some foul stuff. You done said some foul stuff. At the end of the day, the best thing to do is to apologize and move forward. That's it. That's all you can do. There's nothing you can do. There's no time machine you can get in and say, I'm going to go fix this thing. That's it. All you can do is show you're sorry, but better behave. But go ahead. What you got on this Puerto Rican Freak?
What's going on? Shout out to the fellas on the panel. I look at this a little bit differently. This could be a fight similar to Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd, where we want this fight, but the opponents didn't meet our expectation. I think it could be a fight where both of these guys are trying not to make a mistake, and where it could be lackluster because these guys are not trying to make a mistake for the other guy to capitalize on it. Because both of these guys know what's at stake with these two fighters. Because you have Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo. These both of these guys are guys that we wanted to see meet up at some point. They're both coming out of that same class of Devin Haney, Tank Davis, Shakur, Tio, Loma. We all wanted these guys to all mix it up at some point. So it could be a situation where these guys don't want to make a mistake so the other guy can capitalize on it. And it could be very lackluster. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be, it might be something like that where these guys are both of them by nature are counter punchers. So that means they can have their best attribute in this fight. And Tio, we know if you pay attention to Tio in his history of it fighting, when he comes forward, He's not the greatest opponent when he comes forward. Shakur don't really come forward until later, once he know he got his opponent pretty much figured out and he knows what to do with his opponent. That's when Shakur starts to come forward. So I don't know. It might be somewhat where it's not a lot of activity in this fight. But we could see a clear winner, but it might not be a lot of activity in this fight.
It definitely could be that way. Somebody got to come forward. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say something. We got a novice in the house, but that's what we're here for. They've been boxing. They say since 18. I want to say 18. I think they try to say 1830. I'm not sure if they count that as boxing with the bare knuckles, but it's only been 50 guys who have been 2-time Ring Magazine champions in the history. So to say T.O. is trash, that's hyperbolic, and that's like I don't deal in emotion. That's coming from an emotional place. Does T.O. say things people don't like? Of course. I mean, if you listen to, it's fine now, but people remember, man, the stuff that Muhammad Ali was saying was super controversial back then. It's nothing now because our society is so crazy, but a lot of stuff when he was the mouth of the South, he said he was going to beat Sonny Liston. He showed up at Sonny Liston's house with a megaphone screaming. They thought that was insane. I don't even know if people remember this. It got so bad one time Muhammad came to Sonny Liston while he was playing craps, and the great Sonny Liston pulled out a cap gun to shoot as if he was going to pop Ali. So let's not play these games as if, just because you don't like a guy or a guy does antics, that he's not great. So let's stop that, because Devin can't be great if T.O.'s not great. T.O. can't be great if Shakur. You need other great fighters to make you great. So stop that. We don't do that girly man talk of, oh, this guy's sorry. No, there's a lot of fighters that wish they could be Ring Magazine champions. That's just my opinion on it. They wish they could be Ring Magazine champions. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, BVO. Again, when you think about just even more recent times, right? I remember when Bernard Hopkins straight up took a Puerto Rican flag and threw it on the ground.
Yes,
in front of all those Puerto Ricans, bro. I'm like, you trying to get mobbed right now? Like,
I thought they were going to hang him up like a coat. I thought they were going to hang him up like a coat. I mean, I don't even speaking of antics, man.
He apologized after the fight.
He did. Yeah, he did.
And people talk about George Kambosos loss. Muhammad Ali lost to a guy with 8 fights, man. And now, don't get me wrong, we're not trying to down Spinks, but
who was that fighter though? No, you can't just skip over who he was.
It was Spinks, but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, man, that's a part of fighting. This new culture thinks that you're gonna win every fight. You're not, and that's what makes fights great, is when you can go in there and think, or at least feel it's a real 50-50 fight. But let me ask you guys this, because it's something I was wondering. What do you guys think about this fight with Scooter versus Shockey Foster, which I think should be the main event? What do you guys think about
it's the co-main event now because of what happened with Janabek, right?
So is that off?
Yeah, it's 100% off. Janabek failed the second test, and they already announced that it's going to be Johan Gonzalez as the last-minute opponent going to Texas, which we already know.
For Lara.
Yeah, Lara's going to whoop on him. So they basically moved Lara down to, I think, the opener. And then the co-main event is Shockey Foster now versus Scooter. And then it's Jesus Ramos versus Shane Mosley for the interim WBA 160, I think it is. But yeah, man, that's going to be interesting now too, because technically speaking, they've done this before, where when you get the banned substance, like Tyson Fury, they'll just strip you, right? So it'll be interesting now, like what could Crawford do now, technically, or how is the 160 going to look? Because now you're going to have the WBO 160 vacant. You're going to have the IBF, I think, 160 vacant. So that'll make it interesting. But in terms of what you're saying, BVO, I think it's cool in some sense that Fulton is choosing, after beating up Brandon Figueroa and getting that belt, already moving up to the next one. I think that's pretty cool, because then if he can beat Shockey Foster, then technically speaking, he can now say, well, I've been a 3-weight division world champion. He was the 122, Then he did it at 126. Then he moved right up to 130. So I like it. I like it because also then Fulton can start opening it up. Like he doesn't have to stay at 130. He could go up again if he wants to and go up to 135, especially with Shakur leaving now, right? Like we're assuming, like that the assumption is if Shakur loses, he can at least come back down to defend 135. But honestly, man, I mean, we'll see what happens. But I'm obviously leaning Shakur to win. So I don't really see Shakur losing anyway. And I think Shakur is just going to continue to like try to establish that dominance. So I like that someone like Foster is willing to do the same thing, where he's like, hey man, if I beat Fulton, I mean, if Fulton says I just beat Shockey Foster, now I'm a 3-weight division champ. Let me move up. Let me fight. I don't know, man. I mean, a Lamont Roach fight could be there if you really think about it. Like, there's a lot of different fights that he can make if he could beat Shockey Foster. But by the way, BVO, I don't know. That's close. I like Fulton, but I don't know because I'm not gonna act like Shockey Foster sucks or something. Shockey Foster is a very good champion.
Yeah,
he's really sharp. I think the only thing with me,
he's made a mistake.
It's because I think he looks much improved under Bozy. And at the end of the day, when I look at when you are fighting guys at that type of level, guys fighting, he fought anyway, and he's getting better. He looks better after that loss. I mean, people forget him and Brandon Figueroa in life and death because he tried to fight Brandon's fight. And I love Brandon. And he beat Brandon dead his last fight. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's shown that he's on another level. And people got to be honest, man. This dude, Scooter's the real deal. I think he's going to win the fight. But I still remember Shockey Foster made Shakur Stevenson move away. I still don't understand why Shakur Stevenson never gave Shockey Foster his fight. But that's just me. But I want to ask you guys something that kind of was getting me. With this fight with Jesus Ramos.
Jesus Ramos.
I just like to call him Brother Jesus, but with Ramos versus Shane Mosley, why do you guys think people are putting so much on this? Because Ramos is going to beat him to death. It's not even a fight.
Shane got a chance though.
Yeah.
But
I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, I don't think we can win that one though. That's tough. But so sad about the Jennebeck and Laura. I feel bad for Islari. Oh my God.
Just say Laura.
Yeah. I feel bad that Laura. I feel bad that he's missing out on the opportunity for 3 belts, man. That's they. I don't know. You can't just bring in a last minute guy and make it for the world titles. But so I get it. But it sucks because I wanted Laura to get them belts. I did, but. He gonna have to play the waiting game now.
That's just boxing. I mean, that's the story of Laura's career. He beats Canelo, but doesn't get a decision. Fights Paul Williams, beats Paul Williams back in the day. I mean, Laura's whole career has just been riddled with like stop starts, and this is just another setback.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, to be a Cuban fighter, man, you got the worst luck in the world. It's just that simple, man. Because Laura's not young, man. Laura's not young. Laura's an old man. He might be 45, 46 and still knocking people dead. And that's not going to last much longer, man. It's not. And to see Jennebeck, rob him of that. And I always thought Jennebeck was a goofball anyway because I'm thinking, why did Jennebeck move up? Because we all know he's a light heavyweight. What are you doing at 160?
Yeah, I thought he was corny, but I didn't think he was doing that. I just thought he was a little overrated. He's not trash, but I feel like, I didn't expect that. But then again, you can't expect nothing from these guys. You don't know what to expect for any of them.
Yeah, I do. I will say this though. Yeah. One thing I was wondering about all the fights we talking about. What do you guys think about people giving Sergio Matias all this unnecessary hate, saying that which is not true? I verified it. It's not true. The WBC did not raise their levels of Osterine. Why do you think people putting that smut on his name? What do you think about that?
I think it's just the argument, right, BVO, that if you got stopped by the police because he thought you were drunk driving, you breathe on the breathalyzer test and you pass it, even though you were drinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what it is. It's like you still drinking. It wasn't like you weren't drinking. It just so happens that the breathalyzer,
0.01.
Right. Now again, having said all of that, like I never thought he won anyways, dude. I thought Puello beat him.
Me
So
too.
honestly, I don't give a shit. Like I
Yeah,
honestly
I
don't
thought
care.
Puello won too.
Yeah.
He
I
boxed
just
and
say
moved and jabbed and turned. Sabril was following him around the whole way. Yeah, it was close, but I squeaked it out for Puello.
my whole thing is, say you don't like Matias. I'm not a big fan of Matias, but why they gotta destroy the
Walking
man's
punching bag.
Well,
why they gotta
it's just the way it is, right? BVO. Like it's like even to this day with the Ryan Garcia one, if Ryan Garcia was about as famous as Matias, people would have probably treated it the way Matias is getting it. But because Ryan is so famous, he's closer to Jake Paul famous. That's why he was getting eviscerated for basically, kind of the same thing. And again, man, I've had discussions with about this before on Claymore's show. I've talked about it on Johnny at the Hangout Spot shows. I've said it. It's like, look, let's not act like some of these guys or a lot of these guys are on it anyway, and they're just not getting caught, right? So for me, I'm like, look, man, that's your body. You do what you want with it. But I done saw Oscar De La Hoya beat the shit out of Fernando Vargas, and Fernando Vargas was the most steroided up.
Yeah, he was
fighter.
real
Yeah,
souped up.
he was real, and that's what I'm saying. Is it's
Yeah,
like
so that's why
that
he
shit
was
ain't
souped
gonna
up.
help you anyways if you're fighting a superior fighter, So like,
Yeah. Well, go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
No. But that's what I mean. It's just like Subriel Matias. I mean, let's be honest. Did you guys think he was going to win this next fight anyways? I thought he was going to get his ass beat by Dalton Smith. Like, unless you haven't watched a lot of Dalton Smith, trust me, bro. I've watched a lot of Dalton Smith.
Yeah, he didn't upset the apple cart a couple times, but I think Sabril's gonna get to him. But
No.
I don't think that he's
bro.
that good though. I think that Sabril Matias is a walking punching bag. He's a knockout waiting to happen. But he's gonna throw a lot of punches and he can take some punches. But all you gotta like Puyo showed you, like, and he's been beat by people we didn't even know anyway. Well, we knew him, but a lot of people didn't know. But I don't really trust Matias, but like you said, he got caught, but he didn't get caught, so whatever.
My whole thing is this, man. He took a man.
The thing is, they didn't raise to the limits of ostering, like Thomas just put in the chat. It's been 0.01 since 2008. That's what the levels has always been, the threshold levels. So it's not that they raised it. And it wasn't the WBC, it was the New York Athletic Association that came out with that. And it's a situation where he's been cleared because of what they found. And so I'm not saying that he's 100% innocent or he's 100% guilty. I'm just looking at it the way they came up with it. And like I said, that level has always been there since 2008. It just the way.
Why do they allow him to do it at all free? Why do they allow that? It should be nothing, right?
That's according to them. It must be something in what they consider legal supplements that the fighters take that might have some of that in it. So that's why they have the limit at 0.01 because
should be
we know
0.0.
is not a natural. It's not a natural thing that comes in a human body. It's not something that the human body produces. So it must be a situation where they have a lot of legal supplements that these fighters use, but it might have a small dosage of ostarine in it. So that's why they said, okay, well, we know that you're taking this, but this is not what we consider a performance enhancing drug. So we have the limits at 0.01 because we know that it does have some of that in it, but it's not enough to where it's going to affect the fighter. So that's why they have the limits the way they have it. Because all of these supplements have something in it that if you were to take that item by itself, it would be illegal. But because it's not a high dosage in the supplement that the boxing association say is a legal supplement, it's not a high dose in it. They say, okay, well, we have the limit at this because we know you're taking something that might have it in it or it has some in it, but it's not to the level where it would affect the fighter in his performance.
I don't think you should have any of that stuff in your body.
But I got a Puerto Rican Tommy up here. He's coming up here to
Kate for Sabril.
try to vouch for him. But I'll say this: no matter how it goes,
You can't tell me to come up. You can't ask me to come up and say I'm a vouch for him when I've given you the information as well. You can't do that, bro. Man, don't try to play me, man.
Hold on. You just
man. You can't. If I ask you if you let me come up so I can explain it, you can't say I'm vouching for somebody because that's discrediting my opinion and the stuff that I read.
We're not gonna do that, man. We're not gonna do that, man.
That's what I'm trying. Yeah, man. Like
I know
it's not cool.
I understand you worried about Shakur. Don't worry.
Why am I worried about Shakur?
I know you Puerto Rican, and I know you scared to death of Shakur.
Shakur's gonna win 10 rounds to 2 easy. Yeah, that's that. I mean, I ain't worried about that. He's gonna win 10 rounds to 2 easy. And I'm gonna try to get Tio on again so you could talk to him.
I got some good news. I'll tell you behind the scenes about Tio. I got some good news about Tio behind the scenes. Y'all remember December 10th. December 10th. But go ahead. We want for my man Tom. You know a little bit more about this Austrian situation. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so before I even did the research, like I just used common sense, and you got to use these things with open minds, and you got to look at who's reporting the issues and who's reporting these things when they come out, and you got to understand all the facts as well. So before I even looked everything up about the limits and all of that, I looked at the report, and the report said that the reports that were out there, like they were saying that he popped dirty, he tested dirty, and that he popped. He failed the drug test. Those are the words. And the words also said that the WBC increased the limits. Both are absolutely false. Now, if anybody would know the situation in the New York State Athletic Commission, they set it for 0.1. Now, I know the obvious question is, well, you shouldn't have anything. I absolutely agree with that. But the reason they set the limit at 0.01 is for a reason, because of there's possible contamination with other products. Right, so the limit for Austrian is some boxing anti-doping programs, such as the New York State Athletic Commission. The functions as a decision is a threshold to help distinguish between an intentional performance or enhancing drug and use and potential trace environmental contamination. Basically, what that means is that you have, after they look at the B sample, they can see if it's still traceable. But if anybody knows what Austrian is, it takes almost 14 days to literally clear your system. He was tested on November 2nd, and he tested clean. And he came to New York for the press conference. He tested negative 6 days later. I think it was November 9th. Number says so that's not 7 days later. So what he would in reality would have to do was he was going to dope as soon as he took the test, knowing it's a random test too. That's why you got to be a little bit open-minded about it, is that knowing that it's a random test, you could be tested like 3 days, 4 days, and then clean the system right in time for it to be under the threshold. Now that sounds, you know what that sounds like? If you really think about it, that sounds like some Victor Conte stuff, because remember, he's the one that said he could get it to an exact science to get underneath the limit of which they can detect. So, and I'm not saying all of that, but I'm just saying that's when you have an open mind about it, that's what it is. So what I'm saying is that you have to go through the due process like any other fighter. When Alicia Baumgartner tested positive in 2023, everybody labeled her as a cheater, right? Mm-hmm. And she was able to prove her innocence. And what's messed up is that some people don't even talk about that. And then you still have other people like Michaela Mayer still calling her a cheater, which I think is unfair. We did an interview with Hannah Gabriels, and she told us and had proof and documentation of how VADA leaked out her drug test, and they did it illegally, and they never apologized for the situation or anything. When she submitted the the drug that it was for her dog, so because you gotta voluntarily submit everything you're taking, so they know that this is what's been used, so they can say, oh, this is not right, or it is right. So they totally forgot about that part, and they dismissed it and said that she never followed along and gave those in, and then until later on she proved otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So there's stuff that's going on with VADA where they're not following their own protocols. For instance, the Subaru Matias situation, they released the announcement about the drug test, and they were not supposed to. You see how they released the announcement today about Genetback for a test in November 15. They have to release it to both parties first, and they have to get to understand it, and they have to fully cooperate. Now, the difference between that and Ryan's situation, Ryan did not fully cooperate, and Ryan was 60 times over the limit, where Sabrio was underneath the limit. So what this is, if anybody can prove to me where the WBC increased the limits, please show me, because it doesn't exist. It's not true. That has always been the rule since 2008. And one of the first notable cases that are happening was in the Butte fight versus that dude from England, where it was a draw, and it was reversed to disqualification because they found that Butte was loaded up with Ostarine, which was over the 0.1 limit. So you got to understand the cases. Now, here's what I think is happening, and not a lot of people are talking about it. What is happening is that this was supposed to be a ring card. Matias has never been dirty in any test, and he's done VADA testing because he did VADA testing for his recent fight, because that was a ring card, and they have to do VADA testing. He did the VADA testing, and he was clean. So when he did the first test here in this new and it's not a ring card, they found it clean, and then the next one dirty. The issue is that this was supposed to be on a ring card, and because Fresh Promotions, which is Matias's promoter, outbid the ring, outbid Turkey, and outbid Eddie Hearn, they are now running the show. And because of the press conference, they didn't usually, when you do a joint promotion, you would put some flyers up for matching whatever, and they didn't do that. They totally disregarded, because the guy Juan Arango is a little bit of a jerk. You know what I'm saying? So Eddie Hearn and Matchroom are the ones that leak the information to the media, or it's another lady, the lady of Margaret Goodman, who works with VADA, who formerly worked with the ring. It's no coincidence there. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep an open mind of what's been going on and the way VADA is not following their protocols. So what I'm saying is, I agree with people saying you shouldn't have anything in the system, but they do deserve the right to go through the due process to prove their innocence, just like other fighters in the past. So you got people like Chris Algieri. Hold up. You got people like Chris Algieri, Tim Bradley, and other fighters saying that he killed a fighter. He's never tested dirty. And his conditioning coach, he's been with his whole career. And that conditioning coach has worked with world champions like Juanma Lopez, and has been in world champion fights where he's had fighters test under VADA, never had a single case. So this first test looks suspicious. Now, if he's dirty, obviously he's dirty. You know what I'm saying? I don't vouch for that. But what I'm saying is, you got to go through the due process and keep an open eye of what's been going on. And it's been very suspicious. And tomorrow there's going to be a hearing on it by Mauricio Suleiman, as far as because they provided the B sample yesterday. So that's what I'm saying. And there's more to it, but it's just too much to talk about. And I have time to make a video about it. But people got to really open their eyes about it and stop comparing it to the Ryan situation, when he was 60 times over and 70 times the difference between what Ryan tested positive, which is 6.0 plus, in comparison to the 0.085. That's 70 times the difference. Plus Ryan was with other stuff too that magically disappeared. So this stuff has got to stop. We got to be more consistent when we throwing guys underneath the bus, because we're ruining their reputations at the same time. And in my opinion, I think they're trying to sabotage the entire card, because originally it was supposed to be Dalton Smith and Puello on the ring card. And that's not.
Well, one of the brothers want to know Brother Insane wants to know what's under 00.1. Can you tell us that?
What do you mean? What does that mean? What's
He's
under
asking the level, the zero. That's what I'm reading comment. He said the only thing under 00.1 is 0. And he wants to also know, how does the drugs get in your body then?
You got tenths. If you know decimals, you got tenths, you got hundreds, and you've got thousands with THS at the end. So he was 0.00 tenths, right, under limit, 100, 800th, and 5,000. So that's less than 0.01. I mean, that's just basic math.
Can I just ask you a question? Like because you know this stuff. Yeah. I'm just gonna ask you straight up. In your heart of hearts, do you believe Super Real Matias is using it, or do you believe that one of his things got tainted?
I in my heart of hearts, based on the information I've seen, I feel like something has been tainted. based on the fact and but I haven't even mentioned the people that I spoke to behind the scenes that are really close to the situation. That's why I brought up the strength and conditioning coach. When you put all of it into play, he's never been dirty. And the strength and conditioning coach, you would get the vitamins or whatever you're taking is really the coach, right? And he's never popped dirty with any of the fighters he's coached. So it's his reputation that's on the line too, and he provided all his equipment and all the vitamins that they've been using as well. So that's why I feel like it's tainted. But that doesn't mean I'm right. What I'm saying is, you got to be open-minded with it because there's been cases where it's been proved innocent. Heck, Richard Sherman was proved innocent too when he tested positive.
Is he a former Seahawk?
No, yeah, he's a former Seahawk. But that's the saying. I know the information where athletes have tested positive and they prove their innocence. Like,
no, you're right. I mean, because in the UFC, that's why they have a centralized system of testing because there are athletes, and what happens is they announce it to the league. They say, "Hey, this guy tested," but then they're going through the due process, and then when they find out, oh, actually, it was because of this, then it just gets reversed and all of that.
No, it doesn't. That's not necessarily true. See, with the UFC is different because this is VADA. VADA has their own protocols, like their own protocols, and that's what I'm saying. If you watch the video that when we interviewed Hannah Gabriels, you would see that they didn't follow their own protocol. You see what I'm saying? Like the media is not supposed to leak it out. They're supposed to let the teams know before it's leaked on the media. The guy, a fighter shouldn't
work like that though.
The fighter shouldn't have to see the news on TV before somebody tells them. You understand what I'm saying? Or see the news on Twitter before somebody notifies them. That's not proper protocol. That's all I'm saying.
Shout out to my brother TD because, like I said, he done the research. All I hear is this.
Get your hand out of my pocket! Get your hand out of my pocket!
Crazy. That's crazy.
That's pretty funny.
No.
Get your hand out of my pocket! Get your hand out of my pocket!
No. But the other thing too, though, is that no matter. I guess you're saying there's because I thought this fight was going to happen no matter what, anyways. They already did some ruling that says the fight will go on as planned. So what do you think is the difference between what happened there versus what happened with Janabek here during week of? Where they're just straight gank. They just straight took that dude's chances.
Well, it's a different drug, and I don't know what the rules are as far as that drug. And actually, if you look at the statement, you see that it was from November 15th. That's almost a month ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's just coming out now. But they knew about this. They probably knew about this for weeks. With the Sabrel, it came out right away. It's two different, and it's a different drug. So that's what I'm saying. It's no consistency there. That's why I said you have to have an open mind when talking about it.
But one of the brothers want to know
This is a sick Negro.
How did it get there?
That's what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is that then I just responded to. It could be a possible contamination with something else that he took. When people in factories or whatever, certain tools touch certain things and then touch something else. That's a possible contamination. I'm not saying that's happening in this case, but that's why they have that threshold, because it's possible for that drug because it relates to other stuff. It's more things you got to read on it. I've read it's a lot to read, but that's why they set the limit. I don't make the rules. It's not my rules.
Thank God Almighty.
That's a lot to take in. That's a lot to take in. But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but it is true that there are certain protein powders that they've been able to prove, hey, this whatever ended up on that protein powder, and that's why you're supposed to turn all that stuff in. So, but at the end of the day, what I will say is this is the type of stuff where let's not forget that Matias was the guy who, unfortunately, when he fought Dadashev, that was a nationally televised event. Dadashev ends up dying. So if Subriel Matias does get caught for real, he's on this, this doesn't become boxing news now. This becomes national news because it's easy for regular mainstream news media to now go, this is the problem with boxing. This guy who just got caught using this illegal substance is, it's the same guy who killed this other guy 6 years ago.
I don't want to take his name down. What's the K word? Say on the line. That's the one to say.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. My bad, BBO.
But you Go ahead.
No, I was saying this was my whole thing. Like when I was on Claymore's channel and we were kind of like before the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight got announced, I told him, I said, I honestly don't think this fight's gonna get sanctioned. And they kept saying, why wouldn't it? And I said, because can you imagine a world where the sanctioning body that allows this has Anthony Joshua literally hurt Jake Paul to the point where Jake Paul ends up in a coma? Now you had 100 million people watching this shit. That's not the same as like boxing usually gets watched by what, 200,000 people? Not 100 million, you know?
And keep in mind, I'm gonna tell you something because I get what Tommy's saying. That's why I said this thing. Because sometimes when Tommy talks,
Get your hand out of my pocket! What you doing in my pocket?
So what I say is this. You remember when Dillian White fought that guy Rivera, and Dillian White was as dirty as they come, and they still
Dirty Dillian.
Hey, it's boxing, man. It's boxing. Roy Jones' whole career got tainted off some stuff he bought from GNC.
Yep.
So
James Stoney too.
Well, I don't
James
know.
James Stoney tested positive twice.
I'm saying I think Big James was using needles, man. I don't think that was next.
But you know, we got to be consistent in everything that we talk about, though. That's what basically I'm trying to tell y'all. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, that's why I brought up Alicia Baumgartner and Richard Sherman, because they proved their innocence, and other fighters have done it too, and other athletes. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's very much possible, but there's inconsistencies with the VADA testing. That's all I'm saying, and that people got to look out. And it's also inconsistencies in the reports too. If you look at the wording, there is no proof that Suleiman increased the limits. Why would somebody put that out there? That's 1,000% not true. Like that's suspicious to me, bro.
What I would say is this: welcome to being black in America. That's all I can say.
Matthias is not black.
No, but I'm just saying that it happens all the time, man. It happens all the time. But we got my brother here, man. I would be remiss because we got a special guest coming. I want to make sure I hear from my dear brother, my beloved brother, Coach Rock. Coach Rock, how you feeling, man?
What's going on, brother?
We sent the APB out. We was looking for you, man. We was looking for you.
Hey, man, we safe and sound in Atlanta, man.
Hey, shout out to the West Side. Shout out to the whole bluff, man. But let me ask you this. When you seen Devin Haney do what he did you expect that kind of performance?
Nah, man, I'm still fucked up over it.
Hey, shout out to you, man. I'll ask you this. When you seen Devin dropping, what was your first thoughts?
Man, I was in shock, man, because be honest with you, I mean, I still said B shouldn't have lost that damn fight. But the first round was perfect. Second round came out a little too aggressive for it to be that early. And he got caught, he got caught with a counter hook while he was hooking. And man, that shit just went bad. But even then, after the second round, he was down 2-1. So really, at that point in time, you got 9 more rounds up. You really could regroup and just walk him down, because if you look at the fight, he threw more punches than Devin. But I just think it got to a point where after that knockdown, man, it wasn't patient, and it was just a little too much. It was rushing. It was rushing and pressing a little bit. When really, you could have just walked the shit. Could have just been patient behind the jab and just take him to the corner, flurry, and just win the round and just win round just like that, because Devin wasn't gonna open up. But a fighter like Devin, you can't fight him in an impatient manner. If you fight him without patience, then he gonna pot shot you if he get a chance, or if you overstep, he know how to come in and tangle up to the point where and make the ref. He come in, he tangle up, the ref break up, then he gonna take 2-3 steps out behind the ref, and now you got to start all the way back over as far as your pressing is concerned. Unless you can get him at a point where you got him pressing the action against you the way he was doing against Ryan. But like I said, man, I still got my boy. I think 10 out of 10 fights, I think B win 9 out of 10 of them things. He just got to come back, man, and do his thing. So it is what it is.
It looked like he abandoned his game plan, Coach. When he got knocked down, it looked like his game plan went out the window. And people were saying that Senior looked like a novice training. How do you feel about them comments?
I think that it's like what Mike Tyson said, man. Everybody got a plan until they get hit. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody got a plan until you get hit. You know what I'm saying? So, got hit, man. I just think just being patient. I think you still gotta. I mean, the ultimate thing is to win. And I don't give a fuck how you win. People talking about you gotta win and entertain, but fuck that, just win.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta be careful, man, and just stalk and just get an easy damn win, even if the shit is boring from that standpoint. Just get a win. But
but I would just say this. Shout out to you, man, for coming to talk about it. But I'll tell you this. What I seen from Devin, I would say at some point, at his absolute best, that might be the way we'll see Chad be special. Because I think Chad can do, on a smaller level, I think he can do some of that same stuff. What do you think about that?
I mean, truth be told, I think my son got a deeper bag. And we go to Lubbock, Texas on this coming Saturday. He'll be fighting in the national championship all next week. So I'm gonna shoot y'all the link and you can check him out. But
true,
I think because my son is fluid from both sides. I think he got a deeper bag than Devin. I mean, to be honest with you, Chad is not small. Like Chad and Devin are probably about the same height, except Chad will probably turn pro at 26 or 30 instead of 35 like they did. But I just think I think Chad got a deep bag, man, and I think he really just not really realizing how good he is from that standpoint, and he got some pop too. So but we'll see, man. But God willing, man, everything go right. Then we're gonna be gone after December, man. He'll be headed off into the pro ring, signing with a major.
Hey, and that's what I'm hoping to see. But one thing I wanted to bring up, and while I got my brother here, I wanted to ask you this, man. When you see them setting up the road for Anthony Joshua to become a WBO champion, do you see that? Is that fair or foul, you guys' opinion? What do you guys say? Let's start with our gift. Go ahead.
You talking about with Anthony? Bro, I'll be honest with you, man. Boxing is them sanctioning bodies about that 3%.
Yeah.
So
Get your hand out of my pocket!
Joshua was
that is a fact. That is absolute facts.
Especially, they need their 3%.
Especially the WBC. And I've had a conversation with
Hold on. Not WBC. Not WBC.
Especially the WBC.
Hey, BVO, are you talking about Conor Benn getting put to number 1, or which one were you talking about?
Just know what I was saying. The WBO, by them clearing the way for basically made the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight WBO eliminator. So they're gonna give away.
I didn't even hear that. Get the fuck out of here! Did they really do that bullshit?
Yeah, they're gonna give a belt.
My gosh, bro!
Jake Paul from Cleveland. Like I told you, we fighting heavyweight champion. So they're gonna put the WBO interim belt on the line. It's the eliminator.
This must have been breaking news, bro. I did not see that bullshit at all.
Shout out to MVP Promotions, the best in the world for making this happen. But
so think about it like this right here. Anthony Joshua guaranteed $80 million, right?
Allegedly, yes.
I don't know. Who knows?
So he guaranteed his money. Jake guaranteed their money. So each one of them got to pay 3% of their purse to even get a shot at the belt. So basically they're looking at 6% of probably $150 million. That means WBO standing them to make $10 million for doing nothing but putting up a fake ad, putting up a goddamn belt.
We'd have to look at the rules though. I think the fighters only have to pay the percentage if they're actually fighting for a belt. If it's an eliminator, that's not a belt. Now if it's an interim championship, that is a belt. So
it's a final eliminator, so they're going to bring a belt into the ring after.
They're getting a belt, trust me.
Yeah,
they're getting a belt? Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous.
That's
man.
nasty.
This is nasty work.
That's what about Jake.
Yeah, usually eliminator they usually get the interim belt in an eliminator.
Exactly.
This is what Jake Paul do.
I really bury motherfuckers.
That's what Jake Paul does.
Yo, that is wild. How you do that?
That's wild, man. That's just dirty, man. I didn't know.
Well, shout out to my man Little Bill. Little Bill gave me that drop. But I want to ask you this though. You say that's dirty, but why are people jealous? Is because Jake Paul put the work in? We did just beat Mike Tyson. Y'all forgot that, right?
Oh my gosh, bro!
You gotta stop this.
Like you gotta stop. BBO, you gotta stop, bro. You gotta stop. Look, man. Jake Paul's had what? Jake Paul's only done. Listen, bro. Jake Paul's only done one real professional rules fight, because he couldn't do an exhibition because the shit had to happen in Riyadh where they actually have a real commission. You know, the UK got their own real commission that's nationally sanctioned. So since he couldn't do big ass gloves or any of that bullshit, they had to do it as a real professional boxing rules fight, and his ass lost to Love Island Zone Tommy Fury. That's his only real fight. All the other ones are all big gloves, exhibitions, different times, like against basketball players. I don't want to hear it, bro. This is bullshit. All right, like this WBO. If this is real, that's nasty work, man. That's nasty work.
I'm surprised.
Listen, BBO. Let's be honest. If you take Jake Paul's resume and put it to any professional fighter that we consider legitimate professional fighters, they would say he does not deserve no title shot. He will not be in position to get a title shot.
Didn't Mike Tyson?
He hasn't done anything in the sport of boxing.
When he won his belt at 20, didn't he have 6 fights in 1 month?
No, hold up.
He had 6 fights in 1 month.
BBO, I seen you call people trash cans for less. I seen you call, for more than what Jake Paul done. I seen you call people literally trash cans for more than what Jake Paul done. I seen you call people cab drivers for doing more than what Jake Paul is doing. And you acting like Jake Paul is a legitimate fighter that deserves a title fight. Are you serious?
Hey, let me say this.
I'll let you go. I'm gonna go say this. You can say that, but I'd rather have Anthony Joshua wear my belt than Wortley. I mean, it's just that simple, dog.
Hey, bro. I'm trying to find where this legit story is, and they're all saying the WBO is not sanctioning it. There's no there's no stories from a credible source like Talk Sports or mainstream national news. I'm not seeing it anywhere in the UK.
I'll source my. I'll send you my sources after the. I got your number. I'll send it to you so you can see it. But
okay.
The fight's real because they just had a WBO meeting. You know how they had a meeting?
Oh, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Because they don't want Fabio Wortley to have their belt. It's just that simple.
Bro, this is nasty work. This is nasty work.
Go ahead, Coach Rock.
All right, let me say this right here. Jake Paul is a real fighter.
Okay.
But just like most fighters, man, he's a novice going through his first 10, 15, 20 fights. When you end up, the only difference between Jake Paul and other novices when they just starting out in the first 10 to 15 fights is he just happened to be fighting for 50, 60, 70, 80, $100 million. That's all it is. So he's a novice from that standpoint. He's a novice in his first 10, 15 fights, trying to move up the prospect. He's a prospect. But instead of just being an ordinary prospect, he owned his own company and he happened to have a network deal. So, it just is what it is. Hell, Lomachenko fought for a world title fight, his second professional fight.
Hey, let me say this real quick. We got my uncle in the house, man. Uncle Stitch, how you feeling, man?
What's up, my man?
Hey, Stitch.
All right. I'm doing all right. How you guys doing?
Good to see you, Stitch.
What's up, my man?
I gotta ask you this, man. What was it like doing Abdullah Mason's first championship fight, man? He looked super nervous. I'm glad he had you by his side, man.
You know what? Let me tell you a story, man. So last time we did the interview, right? We talked about me working with Devin and Abdullah, and the next day, Bill Haney calls me. And I said, hey, man, I was just talking about you last night, man. I did an interview. He goes, I know. I heard it. That's why I called you right now so I could book you right now. And
you told me at the weigh-in when I saw you.
Yeah, that was great,
man.
But Abdullah, such a good kid, man. Him and the whole family. It's just they're good people, and to the point where I didn't even charge him. Right now I'm like, but I told his dad, I said, this is a business. I said, but I'm going to let you send me a bonus, a
Ah,
tip, and that's it. Because, but in the future, I mean, I've worked every one of his fights since he signed with Top Rank, but just good people, man. It was nice to get back and yeah, get two world champions the same day and get the youngest one. And this weekend I'm working with Shane Mosey Jr. and hopefully we'll end up with I'll end up with three world title champions.
Yeah, for
hey,
sure.
hey, Stitch, can I ask you this? Because that way there's some
What's that?
people who don't understand that side of the business. Well,
Yeah.
And I know, Stitch, that in knowing you and having talked to you at the Mayweather gym and all of that in the past, that this is a private business and you guys get to do whatever you want. But in your opinion, when you do a deal with somebody, whether it's Abdullah Mason or anyone else, what in your opinion would be considered fair? Maybe not for someone like yourself because you're so high up there, but just someone who's starting out. What would be a fair rate for that person in
Yeah,
terms of working with somebody?
that's a great idea or a great question. And but let me answer it to you this way. These young guys that are up and coming and they're working with cut men that are still learning the trade and all that. I always tell these guys, if you're doing it for the money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. It becomes, you can't go over there, and a lot of guys will try to underbid good cut men, just because they want to get on it. But there used to be an old adage in the old days that you get 2% of the purse, and but that's when they weren't $100 million fights, So, but so it makes a little bit of a difference. I do have a contract that I'll share with anybody, that they could use as, but it's a business. Whenever you hook up with a fighter and you need to talk what, where, and when. What is it? When is it? And
Yeah.
when do I get paid? And like I tell a lot of the guys, and that's a good question. I'll answer it. I'll tell a lot of the guys, when you deal with these the coaches or promoters, whoever, do it on text, and once you get a dollar sign, then respond that you agree to those terms, and that becomes a contract. So but it's important for these young guys, but that's a good question, and it's hard to answer it because uh like I told Abdullah and even Devin Haney is, you guys are driving high-end cars and you need high-end insurance, and
Right.
so in that aspect, yeah, it's a tough one to answer, man,
No,
because
no. Well, the reason why I asked, Stitch, is I look at someone like you, having known you in the industry for long enough, both in MMA and boxing, and what you do, like in that fight in particular, Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes. Abdullah was getting hit a lot,
yeah,
and I think most people wouldn't understand, Stitch, all the things that you're doing as the expert that you are to prevent what Abdullah's face looks like, to prevent it from getting worse. But if you were not in that corner in that same exact fight, I will guarantee that Abdullah's face would have looked a lot worse. A
yeah.
lot worse.
Well,
And, and
he ended up with two little cuts, right? And then
right.
one of the here and then one up here, and but this guy Noakes was coming in with his head a lot, and that's where a lot of those came. But yeah, it's important. At the end of the fight, when Abdullah and the dad or just the coaches, Val, they come and give you a hug and say, "Hey, man, I love you. Thanks for being with us." Those are rewarding moments, bro.
So let me ask you this, Uncle Stitch, man, because a lot of people forget about this, man. But when you did Creed, I was watching and I seen you in there. Were you nervous when you were in Creed, or how did you feel doing that? When
Nah,
you
bro,
played
it's
yourself?
second nature, man. Come on, but one of the first things, the first movie I did was with Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas, Play It to the Bone.
That's
But
right.
Woody Harrelson told me don't ever look in the camera, So so, but no, but outside of that, it's second nature, man.
Hey, I thought
And,
you was in, I thought you was in the movie Selena.
Yeah, he was a,
no,
such a
that's
big
my
movie
twin.
star. How
Oh,
was it being in Ocean's 11? How was it being in that with around all those? Because there was a lot of stars in Ocean's 11, and a
Yeah,
lot of
man.
people don't know that you was in Ocean's 11. So
Yeah.
tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah,
You
hey
know,
man,
he
that's good. You're
loves
doing your
George
work,
Clooney.
right?
So
So yeah,
Yeah.
I had I kind of got that little bug, right? And so when Ocean's 11 they were filming in Vegas, I participated. I ended up being Vladimir Klitschko's cut man in the movie,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And because of the experience, and I had the thing with the Klitschko's is, and maybe it's a story I haven't told too many people. December the 12th of 1991 or 92. Vitaly says 92. I say 91. When the Soviet Union first broke, we took a team of professional boxers and kickboxers to Kiev to fight the Ukrainians. And Vladimir and Vitaly were young at that time, but they were already stars. So when they came into town to start training with Kenny Adams at top rank, I brought those moments up, right? And so there was an association, and I even brought a poster with of that night, and he remembered the fighters, and so that was that association. And when I became his cut man, yeah, you got Brad Pitt, you got George Clooney, you got Julia Roberts,
What
Andy
Allen
Garcia,
there?
Matt Damon, all these guys
Yeah.
come. Matt Damon comes up to me and shakes my hand, says, "Hey, hi, my name is Matt Damon." I said, "Shit, I know," and but yeah, but then just to work, and it was a 4-day shoot, right? And but it was Lennox Lewis when he was fighting Vladimir Klitschko. When they robbed the casino. So it turns out that those 4 days of shooting, I was watching. Well, Emmanuel Stewart was commentating for HBO at the MGM here in Las Vegas, and he's walking by. How you sit there and shoot the shit and talk to people walking in and all that. Well, me and my buddy that I used to co-host a radio show with him, Emmanuel walks by and says, "Stitch, I need to talk to you about Vladimir." And I talked to Steve. Did you see what I saw? You know what? Emmanuel called me the next day and said Vladimir wanted the cut man that was in the movies Ocean's 11 with him to be his cut man in his first comeback fight after he lost the title to Lehman Brewster. So that's how I hooked up with him, man. Crazy, huh?
Nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah, and let me add to this story now because it's pretty phenomenal. We talked about they just finished my documentary From the Fields to the Garden, but Vladimir Klitschko they interviewed him in Kiev, and things when I worked with him at Caesar's Palace, his first comeback fight. I didn't know that he had lost 2 of his last 4 fights, and that he had lost his world title. So even he said in the documentary, he goes, "I was at the bottom of the barrel. If I would have lost one more, I would never be here." So anyway, in that fight, uh, I look at the fight as he's fighting, and the first 3 rounds, he won. Not good, but he won. I judge fights as I work, right? In the 5th round, or 4th round, he gets an unintentional headbutt. The 5th round, no, the 4th round, he gets dropped. Okay, so it's 2 points opposed to 3. On the 5th round, he gets an unintentional headbutt, and it's that big vein that I've worked on before, and they're tough to stop. When the doctor came, or before the doctor came, I whispered to Vladimir and Vitaly, and Emmanuel's on the other side. He couldn't hear, but I said, "Look, you got a back cut. You're winning the fight. I'm gonna have the doctor stop the fight," right? And they didn't understand it. When the doctor comes, she goes, "What do you think, Stitch?" And I worked with her many times in the UFC. I opened up the cut. I said, "That's a pretty bad cut."
Yeah, that was
They
crazy.
stopped it, went to the scorecards, and he ended up being a world champion for 8 years. So all that because of Ocean's 11.
So
That's
hey, I'm the
awesome.
stage. So I'm the stage now. I'm a big fan of Teofimo Lopez, right?
Of who?
Of Teofimo Lopez, the boxer.
Yes.
So check this out. So my man Tommy had him on and wouldn't let me come up. You brought
Oh,
up the fish.
that's cold.
Stitch, Stitch. Stitch. We
Hold
spoke.
on.
That was
Go ahead.
cold.
We spoke numerous times, Stitch.
Yeah.
And I would never lie to you, and I would never lie to BVO. Rich, it wasn't my show. It was Rich Mancuso's show. I don't know if you know Rich Mancuso. It was his show, and I wasn't allowed to invite people, guests on. So BVO was mad at me because I couldn't convince Rich to let him on.
Yeah.
That's on you, Uncle Stitch.
What's that? It got a lot of problems. Those ain't one of them, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I stay away from stuff like that.
No, we gotta have some fun when you come. But I want to ask you, Uncle Stitch, when you seen that performance with Devin Haney, what was it like being in the corner when you seen him drop him? What was that like?
Yeah, Devin's always been good. I've known Devin, we're from Oakland, right? And so I've known his style. I was already here when he was up and coming, but I knew of him. But he could fight, and like say I'd worked with both of them, right? And but when he dropped him, I said, you know what, that's yeah, he did good. He did good, and I think there's some major things are going to be happening with him now. Because you're talking about Teofimo, that circle of guys, Shakir, all these guys, Abdullah. It's a hell of a mix, man, and
Yeah.
his fight's going to be a big, big fight. Also, they're all going to
Yeah,
be big fights.
I can't wait to see it, man. But the one thing I wanted to ask you, so what was it like work? I think that was your second ring card. What was it like this time? Were you more used to it? Because I know it was weighing in Saudi Arabia this time.
Yeah, man, that would kick my butt, bro. It took me 24 hours to get there. I flew 10 hours to London, then I had a 5-hour layover, and then another 8 hours to Riyadh, right? And then the 11-hour time zone. I mean, I'd sleep 2 hours at a time and all that. The communications weren't at its best,
Right.
They got to improve that. That happened at Times Square, just no communications. And working with the Klitschko's and Top Rank and, the UFC, everybody was on point when it came to communications, and they lacked a lot of it, but the fights themselves were pretty high energy.
Hey, can I ask you that real quick then, Stitch? In your experience throughout working with all these different teams, would you say that the Klitschko had the best infrastructure in terms of communications and everything?
100% right, bro. 100%. I always said that the Japanese and the Germans, when it came to business, they're very good at what they do. If it's 12 o'clock, it's 12 o'clock. Vladimir and Vitaly had that, plus they were, they doctors in education, in science. And so they're educated, but they're just good people. And they ran a good structured business. I mean, top of the line. And, the thing with it is when Vladimir retired, they flew the whole team to Austria to their training camp way up in the mountains in the snow. Gorgeous. And they thanked us, and they gave us statues created by Mont Blanc. And man,
Oh, that's
badass,
amazing.
Man. It's amazing. In fact, hold on, man. Something I never do, but I'm going to show you to right now.
Oh, I want to see that. You got a Mont Blanc?
Hold on, man. Let me see, man. Let me see. Look at that. See that?
Oh,
man. Look at that. Look how close they are.
Wow.
They look just like them. Look at that.
Wow.
So you guys are the first, man.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It was cool because Mont Blanc designed them. They weigh like 35 pounds. It broke my suitcase.
Yeah, but they look heavy.
But the thing that made it great is that I was the first one to get them because I had been with them the longest.
Wow.
Just good people, man. And Vitaly, when Vladimir lost to Lehman Brewster's last fight, put his hand on my shoulder and says, Steve, you've been with us the longest. I love you. We are like family. You are always welcome to my house. I said, all right, man. But when you become president, I want to be invited. But they're right in the middle of fighting Russia right now.
Hey, so can I do a follow up on that, Stitch? Do you believe that because of your time, not because you were there to see how the Klitschko's did it from Ukraine, the way we see Ukraine now in terms of boxing, they're a superpower of boxing, right? All the different Olympians and all the different world champions that they produce. But did it really start from that Klitschko group, or was there something that motivated the Klitschko's prior to them being who they were that maybe did it? Because you were there to see it all. You kind of saw how it is.
I'm going to have to ask them. That's a hell of a question. I'm going to have to ask them. I said, look, man, before you, who was it? But one thing that I did realize is that, when you look at the Russian boxing in the Olympics, they always said Russia winning, right? But when you broke it down to states or countries, Ukraine and Kazakhstan were the two powerhouses when it came to boxing. And like MMA, Dagestan is they're the mega forces because they grow up with that shit.
Right.
It's a trip, man. Yeah, right. It's a trip working. I've worked with many Eastern Bloc fighters, and it's always been an honor and very respectful. And they don't show a lot of emotion until you earn it, and then they'll cover your back in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Speaking of that, man, I know you're a big Raiders fan, man, and you see I got the Cleveland hat on, man. What was it like when you see Shador Sanders, man, getting that first win out there in Las Vegas, man? What was that like?
Thanks, man. You know, my daughter works for the Raiders, right? And
Right.
so she gets season tickets, right? And so I went to go see them. In fact, I was invited to go see them play. I think they're playing Denver this weekend or somebody. But I'm going to be in San Antonio, so I'm going to miss it.
Yeah.
But now the Raiders, you know, I'm from Oakland, man, and that's when
Yeah.
they were at their. That's when the Raiders were the Raiders, you know. And you know, I work for R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. There's Winston's, the Salem's, the Camels, and Gene Upshaw and George Atkinson and Jim Mauldin used to have liquor stores. So shit, I'd see them. I saw Kenny Stabler in the, you know, in his little mom and pop store, and John Matusak opening up a beer in a 7-Eleven and drinking it. And the manager says, "John, you know you can't do that." And he just kills it right then and there. So those were the good times, man. But now these are the Raiders. They're following me over here. The A's, they're moving over here. So
Everybody's following you to Vegas, man.
I started the movement, bro. You know.
Hey, because you know, one thing I want to say, Oakland has changed. I want to ask you, when the last time you've been home?
It's been a while. You know, my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law came and visited us, but it's been a while since I've been to Oakland. You know, but I was lived 1446 28th Ave, right in the middle, man. You know.
Woo!
And,
I know where that is.
Yeah.
I know where that is.
Yeah.
Oh my
That was
God.
home. Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out to Skyline High School. Go ahead. I know Free, and I know my man Puerto Rican Tommy got a couple. Go ahead, Free.
Puerto Rican Tommy.
Yeah, that's his name, Puerto Rican Tommy.
Crazy.
Puerto Rican Tommy.
Yo, do that. Go ahead, Thomas. Go ahead, Thomas.
I
What's up, my man?
I got one. Are you going to be working the card January 31st? Are you going to work in any fighters in the Garden?
You know what? You talking about the one in Puerto Rico?
No, the one in the Garden. The team.
Okay. Well, I don't know with Shakir. You know, I've worked with Shakir before. Right now, no. But Xander is fighting in Puerto Rico on the 31st also.
Yes.
And you know, me and Mike Basil are the house cut men for Top Rank. And they stopped for a while because they're looking for a new network, whatever the situation is. So I don't know if I'll be there at that fight. I prefer that one because I've never been to Puerto Rico. You know, I've been all over the world.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
never did a
That's a
fight
new
in
one.
Dominican. Never did a fight in Puerto Rico. The only place in South America was UFC in Brazil and
Right.
boxing in Costa and that's it in Chile.
It's a
That's
beautiful
it.
island, Coach. When you get a
Yeah.
chance to go out there, it's a really
No, I
beautiful
want to go.
island.
Yeah, 100%.
I didn't know that, Stitch. I always thought you had been to Puerto Rico before, but you
No,
didn't.
man,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, okay.
No,
So
and-
what do you like? Do you like that fight for Xander? Fighting a Bass? I mean, is that a good matchup? You think Xander?
who's Xander fighting?
Abbas Baru. So Stitch, I don't know if you watched it, but he's the kid. He's the guy that beat Johannes Tellez for the WBA. Abbas Baru. He's from Germany.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I didn't see him. I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah. But you gotta love Xander, man. He's a good kid. You
Yeah.
know. And the whole family is cool. Cause I got stories with everybody, bro. So we're fighting in Tucson outside. It's some casino, but it's outside in a theater like. And Xander's mother and sister are sitting in the sun. It's like 100-something degrees. And so I go and I talk to security about moving them. It's a big canopy, putting them in the shade, right? And but when it's time for Xander to come up and fight, I look and the sun had moved to where they're in the sun now. You know? But I tried, you know, and they remember that.
Speaking of that, Coach, man, I got a really good up and coming coach, man. My man, brother Bernard Hackett. He came under. I don't know if you remember Gary Russell. He actually was one of the rare guys to train under Gary Russell Sr. You know, the guy that would throw people out the gym. Who was going to train your boy Andre Ward. So what's going on? What's going on, Coach? How you feeling? We got a Stitch here, man. I think he might have fell on the steps.
Oh, what's up?
What's up? He fell on the steps. Give us 1 second. He must have fallen on the steps.
Hey, Stitch. I got a question on this sense with the we're talking Bay Area. I haven't seen a Bay Area card like a big one put together until the one that's going to come next week, which Diego Pacheco, against Kevin Lee Sajo, and it's in Stockton. That's the one that also has the really good undercards in it, and they're all matchroom guys, right? So my first question is, number one, is there a chance that you might work that? And number two, have you, or is there a way for you to kind of connect with Eddie Hearn so that you could do for him what you're doing for Top Rank?
Nah, you know, I've never asked for one job till this day, bro. You know, it's not my nature. I can't kiss nobody's ass and do that. You know, it happens, right? But I grew up in the 209. You know, Nate Diaz and Nick are there, and you know, we're all 209 guys. But I don't know nothing about the fight. You know, but I'm kind of cruising. I'm kind of cruising right now. I'm just, you know, they finished my documentary. You know, now we're working on trying to get it in film festivals, and so that's my focus right now. I mean, I've been blessed to do so many great fights. But you know, if they pop up. Yeah, I'll do them.
Did anybody cry when they seen the final product?
What's that?
Did anybody cry when they seen the final product of the documentary, man? Because
yeah. Hey, man, listen, they did. It's you know what? I went back home. So some of you guys don't know, but I grew up as a farm worker in the Central Valley of California.
Right.
And born and raised in a migrant camp. So you know the guys that Trump and all are sending back, those are my people. So what I did before the film was finished, I convinced the producer to let me go back home to Planada, where I grew up at, and show it to the friends that I grew up with in the migrant camp and the ones I went to school with. We're all farm workers. So there's like 100, 125 of us. And I treated them to a real nice event, and they all cried. And the reason why is because a lot of my story was their story, you know, and you know, and you guys have probably had the same story. And one of them I'll just kind of share, but I told them when I was at the cemetery, you know, my mother, my father, and my uncle were all buried on the same place, you know, because of economics. But I said, you know, yeah, you know, it just, my father was an alcoholic, I said, you know, and that's something I've never mentioned. But at the end of the film, we all got together and my son-in-law did interviews and all that. And a lot of them, because, you know, we all grew up the same. And after we'd work and, you know, we'd go swimming in the canals and the old men would go to the bars, you know, and drink. And so, you know, the ones I grew up with, quite few of them were alcoholics, you know, but the story itself is, you know, from me making it as a farm worker to the garden, that itself is a story that we all have dreams, you know, and you know, we reach up to certain ways and certain heights, and you know, it's you take shots, and you know, we've all been there, right? So you guys can relate. You know, when you see the film, it's pretty badass, man. So, but I'll kind of mention real quick. So they presented it to ESPN, you know, because I've done all these top rank shows with ESPN. And good, but that was my first choice, right? So they came back and they said, you know what, man, we love the film. It's fucking great, but it's political for us. And I didn't understand that because now that the UFC is with Endeavor and you know all these packages,
Silver Lake and everything else. Yeah, no, I understand. I understand that side of it. I was going to ask you, Stitch, since you're doing the independent film tour right now with the film on that side, and I know you're not the showrunner, but schedule wise, do you know where it's going to be shown first? Like, is it going to Venice first, or are you guys working on getting it to Cannes?
Yeah, we actually on the 5th of this month, December, they've submitted it to Sundance, Trifecta, all these. That's what they do, right? And so the December the 5th, they're deciding who's going to be shown at Sundance, so they get to pick them, right? But you know, like Gerard, the producer, says, man, you know, there's like 17,000 videos that go in and go out, right? And so if not, but no, somebody will pick it up. You know, we got Michael B. Jordan. You know, he's an A player, and that's you know, whenever you got Michael B. Jordan in there,
that's ace in the hole.
You're doing all right. But it's just a matter of that process of if you got 17,000, are they going to look at it? You know, and they only look at it for you know a minute or two just to see the quality and all that. But in the beginning, I got Tyson Fury, I got Shane Mosley Jr., I got all these superstars. So it's pretty badass. So yeah, but yeah, I'll get it somewhere.
Do you have
And
a name for it? Is there a name for it yet?
Yeah,
yeah, there's a
it's called
title.
from the fields to the garden. Because I
Okay,
grew
nice.
up as a farm worker. Those are the
Yeah.
fields, right? And the garden was my goal to make it to Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
Been there many times, bro.
Do you talk about
Hey,
your
you got
baseball dreams? Your baseball dreams?
What's
The
that?
let me know
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
coming up.
Well, you know what? We talked about that. You know, my dream was to play baseball. I walked onto a college and what have you not, but I couldn't afford it, and you know, I joined the Air Force. But that's when the producers and the director says that movement right there went from one dream to another dream,
Yeah.
and
Right.
that's you
Yeah.
know, and that's the way it was, you know, and so and you know, and I'll just mention to you guys. The guy Marshall Ibarra that was going to go in the Air Force with me, he kind of the last week he kind of chickened out because he was going to get married, right?
Huh.
And little town, you know, growing and joining the military, I went by myself. Anyway, one of my best friends, we grew up in the micro camp together. He just passed away 4 days ago. So when I come back to the from the funeral, I'm going to go back home and when I come back from Change Fight, I'm going to go back next Wednesday and you know, show support for him and the family. So you know,
Now,
Nice.
Speaking of
now,
that, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Speaking of that, Albert Stitch, I want to bring my guy, man, Bernard Hackett. He's training a young kid out of DC named Jalil Hackett, and he came under Gary Russell, which you know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But go ahead, brother Bernard. You had a couple of questions for Coach. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Man, first of all, I want to say how much of an honor it is to be able to have you and a conversation with you, or be able to ask a question.
yeah, of
Uh, my
course.
question, my question is boxing related. Uh, I know you've seen more boxing than probably all of us put together, and you've been in more corners with some of the greatest coaches. Which corner, if you could say it's one or more than one, that faced adversity, but they kept it the coolest throughout the fight?
Yeah, I can tell you, Vladimir Klitschko when he fought.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I got it. I'll mute his mic. Go ahead.
Uncle Stitch. Somebody
Oh, Stitch, you
call.
went mute.
Samuel dropped Vladimir 3 times.
right.
All right. Vladimir Klitschko ended up winning the fight because of the instructions that Emmanuel Stewart gave him, and his brother Vitaly kept him composed. I've never seen anybody get dropped 3 times and win a fight. Never.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question.
That was a
Can
good
I add
fight
real
too.
quick
Peter
about
could punch.
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Now go ahead, Coach.
And I asked that question of you because outside of your vast knowledge, I see a lot of coaches and I see a lot of cornermen and I see a lot of cutmen who, when things go haywire for the fighter, it's a lot of discombobulation in the corner at the
Yes.
time when that should be the calmest 1 minute that you should ever have. So that's why I was asking what you thought of that. And for young cutmen, what would be the biggest piece of advice that you would give them when things are going crazy in the corner with a cut athlete?
Yeah, man, both excellent questions. But on the cuts is keep your composure. That's number one. But you know, working with Top Rank was great and has been great because I work with so many young fighters and
Right.
new teams all the time. But the
Right.
first thing I do is I sit with every corner. I said, look, man, give me the right side. You know, the head instructor is going to be in the inside. The guy on the left side of the ring, you know, you handle the water, you handle the mouthpiece, you the bucket. You know, you guys work on who gets the stool. You know, I'll work on the right side. Give me his face. So I give him those instructions. Then I'll say, you know, if the fighter gets cut, let's say I'm working on the right side, he gets cut on the left side, the head coach and me would trade places. But that was a good question because I mentioned that today. That but none of us in boxing, in as a major sport, contact sport, MMA, none in combat sports, none of us have to be certified to be called professionals. You know, we
Right.
pick up a towel and you're a cut man, and
Right.
and now that you're asking there, I always tell, and I mentioned it yesterday at the gym, I always try to educate young fighters. And I'll say, look, if you're looking for a cut man, and if he puts a swab in his mouth and his ear, get another cut man because that's old and dirty.
Yeah.
But more importantly, ask him what is the medical function of the adrenaline chloride
Yep.
1000,
Yep.
the medication that we use.
Right.
All right. Do you know what it does mechanically?
Yeah, it's a coagulator, right?
Okay, you're wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my point. If the guy tells you it's a coagulant, get another cut man because it's a wrong area, wrong identify. It is a vessel constrictor. Adrenaline
Vessel.
chloride 1/1000, the one that we use in the swab that goes in the cut, it closes up the blood vessels. It's not a coagulant. So when you see me work on a cut, first thing I'll do is I'll squeeze it, to get the blood out of the little veins. Then I'll put the medication and it'll close up the vessels. It's so anyway, yeah. See, I just educated you. Now you could educate other people.
Yeah, and Stitch, can I ask you on that? You've seen? Is it true that if you put that onto Vaseline, like the actual jar of it, it could still work, or it's better to just keep it separate and have let's say the Q-tip of it just dipping into the adrenaline, and then you do it that way? I'm just asking.
Yeah, no. Well, you know what? And I'm going to let you guys know right now. Go to stitchduran.com. I put a video up. It's called "Giving the Fighter One More Round" that shows you everything. It's only $50, but it's there to teach, right? And but getting to your point now, I do mix Vaseline with adrenaline, but I just a little small container. And the thing you got to do, you got to whip it as much as you can because Vaseline doesn't absorb liquid, right? So what you do is you beat it so much that it starts turning white and it creates little bubbles, and then it'll house those bubbles. So as the final topical, you'll put it on the cut. So first you put the adrenaline 100%,
Right.
let it close it up,
Right.
squeeze it, and then you put the Vaseline at the end with the
Right.
adrenaline mixture. Yeah, of course.
Right. No, that's awesome. And then it's on stitchduran.com for anyone who wants to know
Yeah,
the
it's
stuff.
only $50. I do seminars throughout the world, and you
Right.
get like 150 people show up, but I
Yeah.
can't do them all the time. And my legacy is to teach. That's how I want to end my legacy. And I figured $50 for a video. It shows you everything on how to wrap hands for boxing, how to wrap hands for MMA. Shows you how to work on cuts, the medications, how to work the swelling, the tools, everything that I do. It's on video for you guys, man.
That's
So.
nice.
Yeah, and now let me add about Gary Russell's. Now we're talking about Gary Russell's, right? So the father paid me $100 to wrap one of the brothers' hands, right? And I
Okay.
did, and I can't remember where. I mean, but I remember those moments, right? Boom, boom, boom. I wrapped his hands and all that. Got $100. Well, we did some fights at the T-Mobile here in Las Vegas, and I think is it Antoine? Is there an Antoine?
The current champion is Antoine Stitch.
I think he is the one when he fought in Vegas. I mentioned that story. I don't know if he fought or not. I mentioned that story to him. He goes, "Shit, that was me. You wrapped my hands." So I thought that was great, man. Because just so many of the brothers. But I remember the father right then and there gave me $100 to wrap his hands, and I didn't know which one it was, and I brought that up because I knew he was a Russell, and he goes, "That was me." So that was nice.
I like to say one thing. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. What
I
you
lost
just
you guys in the pictures. Can I see you guys in the pictures?
yeah, let me turn my camera. I'm in the gym with my son.
Yeah, I'm in two pictures.
I appreciate what you just said because at one time I got a lot of flack from different people, or they asked me the question, why don't you get in the ring and stand in front of your son's face? And I always say, because I'm not the back catcher. I'm not the person who controls the real game. That's the cut man. So I need him to have his face. I just need my son's ear. And what you were just saying about you direct people on where they're going to be, I think that just solidified how I feel. And when I explain to people why I do it, because you gave the best example of that. You have to be able to do your work, and everybody else at that point just needs to hit their mouth to be heard.
It's all teamwork, bro. And for the most part, if you guys are good at what you do, if like me, if I get up there within 7 seconds, I've done a good job. If we have 50 seconds to work, we got to maximize it. But you do it through communications. And really the only one that should be doing the talking is the guy that's the head coach. You know, and when I see guys, there's two coaches talking, even yelling in the ring. To me, the fighter can't hear you. Save your breath. And because I know I've been there and done that, right? I said, shit, what am I doing? You guys don't even hear me, people screaming and all that. So, but keep focused and composed in the ring, and look like pros, and be pros. And the cut man that you have, make sure he wears gloves. Make sure he don't put a swab in his mouth or ear.
Oh, that's dirty.
And get that experience factor.
Yeah, I seen
That's
one of them
crazy.
dudes at 2300 Philly.
I just seen a local guy do that. He had the swab in his
Yeah,
mouth. I thought that
yeah, he
was
did.
crazy.
Yeah.
I
And
saw it
that's
too. I was like, yo, that's nasty. Why's he got? Oh, that's what they do. I was like, nah, that ain't what you do.
No, and the thing about it is that was the old school mentality, right? And it's literally the blind leading the blind, And when I was trying to learn to be a cut man, I had my school of kickboxing, and I remember Marvis Frazier fought Bone Crusher Smith in Richmond, California, and I went to the fights, and one of the guys did a good job, not their fighter, one of the earlier fights did a good job on a cut. And I said, hey, man, I'm trying to learn to be a cut man. Can you tell me what you did? He says, F you. He goes, I'm taking this to my grave and you got to learn like me. And he walked away because that was a mentality. Well, that's the same mentality that these guys are doing by following the work of somebody that don't know what they're doing. But ask these guys, ask that cut man, hey, man, what does the adrenaline do? If he says it's a coagulant, think about me.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And Stitch, when you're teaching like fighters or you're talking to people at these gyms, all you're really trying to do is pass on information based on what you've experienced already. And you know that because there's no official like licensing or college degree that you can get for these things, you're just asking these fighters and coaches to be mindful and ask qualifying questions, correct? You're just
100%, man. And the thing about it is, these guys get in the ring is they're going for one purpose. Is Eddie Mustafa Muhammad said the ultimate goal of a fighter is to render his opponent unconscious. That's the knockout, right? So that's the best victory. So you, as a team, as a corner, have to take care of this guy as much as possible. And encourage him and confidence, and give him that confidence.
right, right. Right. Hey, Stitch, I did want to go back to the movie because I know that you're in the middle of because we want to push it out to people from the field to the garden. Now we won't get a chance to watch it until it officially can go into like an Amazon or something, right?
Right.
But in the meantime, like is there a way, is it going to be on stitchduran.com that people can maybe see the independent movie schedules? Because sometimes we can go to those. We
Yeah,
can go to the independent movie places.
It's funny you bring that up because Rudy Mondragon, that's the producer and directed, he just finished talking to Yvette Rodriguez, and she's a
Yes.
publicist.
Yes.
And so we're at the point now and she, I met her through, she was there at the Canelo fight, but she's friends with Rosie Perez, and she
Right.
does a lot of, so they were talking about her being the publicist and getting that information out.
Okay.
I had had these one guys that offered to sponsor us at the Cam Film Festival, all expenses, but the film wasn't ready in time. But maybe if it's not sold by next year, they're willing to do it. So I'm getting a lot of major support. There's Native American tribes in North Dakota, the MHA, the Mandan, Hitachi, and Riccara tribes. They're the ones that are building a big major stadium or arena, hotel casino next to the A Stadium here in Las Vegas. They donated $100,000 to me,
That's awesome.
because they're good people, and they see that the project is something that's beneficial for everybody. So a lot of people are coming forward. Vladimir Klitschko, you know, for the footage is like $50,000. We got to pay for the footage, right?
Right.
It's on the house, man. Same
Wow.
same with Michael B. Jordan.
Wow.
They give us that, and so yeah, people are helping us out. And Top Rank says, with the footage we're using from them, they say, you know what? Let's talk after the film festivals. So that's it's a blessing, man. But these people, you give and you get it back 10 times, and that's what's happening right here. So it's somebody's going to pick it up.
No, that's
Just
yeah, it's an
For
awesome
sure.
story, Stitch, because
Yeah.
you're talking about, especially within the global political climate of things going on. Your story is talking about how this your resilience from being on the fields and the way you grew up
Yes.
just kept moving you forward and forward and forward to finally get you to, because I'm sure when you were working back in those days when you were younger on the fields, you never thought in your head you would be at the garden at the Madison Square Garden someday, right?
Nah, man, I'd be picking tomatoes or peaches or cotton, and I'd be thinking, man, I could be a professional baseball player. You know, Roberto Clemente used to be my idol, right? And so that was my inspiration to go and go. But nah, never. You know, I remember first time I went to Japan for Pride with Josh Barnett. We fought in the Tokyo Dome. And I'm looking up and I'm thinking, wow, man, all these thousands and thousands of people, and you got this little Chicano right in the middle of the ring. All eyes are on us, you know.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a crazy, crazy feeling.
Nice.
Yeah, that had to be cool. But I want to ask you this before you go on with Stitch. Well, have you done a fight for Emiliano Vargas yet?
I never have. Good kid though, you know.
Yeah,
Good. The whole family are good kids, you know.
yeah. I can't wait
And
till you do one of his, man.
yeah, yeah. So and we'll see. You know, now he's a young up and coming. Shit, we got to get him in the Creed movie, man. He's so good looking. You know. but it's funny because I told his brother Emiliano that. And said, oh shit, another got to fight for it. You know?
Hey, Stitch, you got a chance to see that? The Rock just did his movie with Mark Kerr, and I know you've been to Japan with Barnett before in the past. But if you have seen the movie, how much of what that director was showing was very real in terms of when you were going to Japan with Josh Barnett and how things worked?
Now, you were coming in broken on the middle sentence. Say it again.
Yeah, so The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he just did that movie about Mark Kerr, and they were trying to show all of the inner things on how Japan works and how pride works and all of those kind of like underneath things that the normal people don't get to see. So I know you were going up there with Josh. How much of it in just from your recollection that you could talk about was a real, like, yeah, it really was kind of like this?
It was pretty much different than the UFC for sure, you know. And it was great, man. But you know, I went there with Josh for I think Pride for Tony Antonio Ayoka, Tony Ayoka, no Tony.
Yes,
What is his name? Yes, his show. And been there, yeah. But it was different, man. And I remember one time. They had wrestling also with MMA, but you know the wrestlers, they cut themselves. Shit, this one guy cut himself so deep in the back, he's laying down and blood's coming out of my face, and they call me because I'm just there to work with Josh Barnett, and they call me to work on the guy's cut. You know, he popped that big vein with a razor.
That's
oh my
Abdullah the
god!
Butcher.
Yeah, but guys like Vanderlei and all the Fedor and Crow Cop and all this, man, it was a pleasure working with them. You know, as a matter of fact, Vanderlei and Shogun and Ninja and all these guys gave me the nickname Santana. So
what?
yeah, my hair was
I
longer.
didn't know that. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, Santana, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I think
awesome.
my man call us from the Bay.
Oye, ¿cómo va?
That's awesome, Stitch. I never knew that. So when you were younger, your nickname wasn't Stitch; it was Santana.
It was Santana, man. Yeah, but it was cool because you know another one with Fedor Emelianko, right? He's big legend, right?
Yes.
So I was there with Josh, and he had just come back from breaking his thumb, and it was his first fight back. And the promoter came and asked me if I could wrap his hands. Well, when I first go, everybody wanted me to wrap their hands. And Josh would say, you know, I paid for him to come. You know, it's like $500 each. Man, I'd make $2,000-3,000 like this, right? Well, they asked me to wrap Fedor's hands, and I didn't even want to talk to him. He was a legend. I didn't want to mention money at all. And I'm wrapping his hands and open, close, and okay, this and that. He didn't say nothing.
Right.
Finally, at the end, I look, okay, how do they feel? He goes, super. Bro, that's all he said, man. But let me show you something. Hold on again.
Hey guys, make sure you're pressing the like buttons. Like, subscribe, all that stuff for
Super
our
chat
guy
to chat. Put
BGO.
some pain
Hey
in the
man,
chat.
look, how many guys you know that get my own Fedor Emelianenko outfit.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome,
Look at that,
Stitch.
bro.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
That is
Look
amazing.
at that.
Stitch,
That's
do you
nice.
remember which fight was this from? When
This
you
was my last fight with Bellator, and I had walked into the hotel in San Jose. I had walked into the hotel from the airport, and Fedor, because I always wrapped him in his brother's hands after that,
right?
And Fedor and his team are in the lobby. You know, everybody hangs around the lobby. So he comes up to me and gives me a hug and says, "I have sweats for you." I said, "Huh?" Yeah, he sent a
Oh,
guy up and he brought him to me, and I've never wore them. I'm not going to wear them. But the point
yeah,
is that he thought about me when he was
right.
in Russia, you know, and
Oh my
that's
gosh,
what makes it special, bro.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
that is so cool. He put Stitch on it and everything. That's
yeah,
Yeah,
uh-huh,
man,
yeah.
awesome.
that's
The whole
nice.
works. The whole works.
Wow,
That's something you put
wow.
in the plastic and you don't wear that. You just
I don't wear it at
bust it
all,
out.
bro.
Yeah, you just
No,
show like what you just did. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
Oh
Yeah,
no, it's been when these people give you these special things, it's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, man,
That's
for sure.
that's amazing, Stitch. I for you guys who don't who may not know because you're not that deep into the MMA world, Fedor Emelianenko is looked upon as the greatest heavyweight that's ever existed for MMA. He's sort of like Stitch. Would you say that he's sort of like the Muhammad Ali of MMA because of what he did?
No doubt about it. The biggest name in MMA for sure. I tell you, when they asked me to wrap his hands, I didn't even talk about dollars and cents.
Right,
And then, but it was funny because his brother Alexander, he fought in I think Affliction, and we walk into the arena, into the hotel, and he comes up to me. You wrap my hands? Yeah, okay, yeah, da. So
that's
yeah,
awesome, Stitch.
yeah, nice.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Hey, before we let you go, can we because we didn't get your take on Jake Paul, Josh, what's happening? I don't know if you're gonna end up working one of those corners, but in your opinion, do you think that that's a good thing for boxing or a bad thing for boxing that it's going to be viewed by I'm guessing 100 million global subscribers at least?
Yep. Listen, I've done like 4 of those shows, bro.
Okay.
But I'll give you now. So the first one I did was KSI versus Logan Paul. I didn't even know who these guys were.
Wow.
KSI trained with us here in Vegas for 6 weeks, and like Michael B. Jordan, I treated him like a fighter. I didn't know
Right.
these guys had like 20 million followers each
Yeah.
and above.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It was
Yeah.
it's a whole new clientele that watches these type of fights, and I knew because when we walked into the Staples Center, you go in the dressing room, you put your stuff there, and then the team goes to the corner, and okay, your job here, there. Shit, nobody recognized me. They all recognized these other guys, so I knew it was a different world. And
Right.
so yeah, no, they're gonna, Joshua's making a whole lot of money. Jake Paul, got
Sheesh.
to give him credit. He's bringing dollars and cents and making a lot of money for a lot of people.
Mm.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Uncle Stitch. Now, you worked with a Cleveland champion, Abdullah Mason. It would only be right, man, if you work with Jake Paul. I hope you get to work that Jake Paul corner, man.
Yeah,
We're going to shock the world, man.
He's the one that's going to need it, Jay.
Yeah.
Stitch.
Yeah,
For
no,
sure.
somebody asked me because they have contacts with the promoter. I said, nah, Danny Davis works the cuts. He's a friend of mine. I'd never
Oh,
step on his toes,
okay.
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
what's up.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that. So Danny
yeah,
Davis is the one that works Jake Paul's side. I
yeah.
didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, even when Vladimir Klitschko, they asked me to work his cuts, I called Joe Souza up, and because Joe Souza
Oh,
was
that's
working with him,
right.
right?
That's
And I said,
right.
look, man. He goes, yeah, no, that's fine. Appreciate the respect. So
That's
yeah,
respect.
I wouldn't do it. So
That's very honorable.
That's
that's all we
awesome.
got, bro.
That's awesome, Stitch. So StitchDuran.com, that's where we can everybody could go on StitchDuran.com to keep updates on everything that you're doing, right?
Well, no, it's more of the video, yeah.
Yeah.
The video.
Yeah.
Up and coming trainers, go cut, man. Go check that video out. It's only
Okay.
$50.
Yeah, I recommend, especially all the young ones.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, because I used to do it myself, is wrap your own hands. When you practice
Yeah.
that way, if it's too tight or too loose, and everything's adjustable, and go from there.
On your videos, Stitch, do you show these guys how to wrap their own hands too, the fighters, like on
No.
that? Okay.
No,
All right.
no, but and my email's there, so anytime anybody has any questions, I'm here to teach, bro. That's how I roll. So you have any questions, send me questions, man. And, we'll take it from there.
Appreciate you, Coach. We appreciate you for sure.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Stitch.
Let me
Of
say
course,
this
man.
up with Stitch. Feliz Navidad, because I probably won't see you till Christmas. But hey, I appreciate you coming, man, and we'll see you real soon, man.
All right, man. You guys take it easy. It's always a pleasure, man. All
Thank you
right.
Stitch,
so
thank you
much.
for the time.
Barbershop talk, right?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you,
Indeed.
Stitch.
All
You're
right. Take care,
amazing.
guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Adios. Bye.
Love Uncle Stitch.
BVO bringing in the heat.
He came and dropped a
BVO.
bunch of free gems too.
Yeah,
he's great, man, Uncle Stitch. And the thing about it is, I don't even think
Mhm.
you realize he's the greatest cut man. He
Yeah.
oh
teaches
yeah,
about
he's that. Yeah,
There's
definitely.
there's no debating that. Anybody want to debate that?
Yeah.
What we doing?
And just like Stitch was saying, he's such a humble person, right? He's
Yeah.
willing to teach the information because he's not trying to hoard it for himself or anything
Nah,
like
he
that.
ain't gatekeeping.
Yeah, and I think
But
that's why so many
and you
people.
should pay him for his time. If he took the time out
Yes,
to make a tutorial video for you up and coming cutmen, like $50, y'all be spending all kinds of money. You heard the man say somebody gave him $500. What do you say, $100 a rap
right.
Gary Hands. So
Right. Well, he also mentioned with the Abdullah Mason one, even he was just saying,
Mhm.
just send me a tip, right? I
Right.
think it's only proper that everybody just understands that this is a craft that Stitch Duran has built his entire life, and now he's also teaching it to people. Like,
Yeah.
don't be rude, man.
It's like
Like,
it's like them workout tutorial videos with the personal trainers, and they're making their videos showing you what to do certain things to do to get your body right. It's no different from that, people.
right,
Yeah.
right.
What was
Yeah,
that guy's name that's real popular in the 90s? What is it? Richard something? Y'all don't tell me the guy with the curly hair?
hey, you
What?
talking about Richard Simmons, bro?
Richard Simmons, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
Hey,
crazy, BBO.
That's crazy.
no, but I'm saying, you remember he had the videos. Because I remember when I met Tommy from the Bronx, he had
Sweating to the oldies, BBO. Sweating to the oldies, bro.
That's what he needs. He needs a little Richard Simmons in his life. He coming out trying to play me. He just played himself, man. You need a little Richard Simmons, bro.
Tommy, I appreciate Tommy, man. He 300 pounds, 5'4", man. So
yeah, all right, yeah.
BVO only doing that because he's taller than everybody.
Hey, but I'll say this, man. It was always great, man. Appreciate you, Rez. We've been trying to get you on here, man.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thanks.
Come back, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoyed you.
Thanks. No, Stitch was awesome too. That was a nice little thing. Coach Pitts, good luck. You said there's a tournament, right? There's a tournament coming up for his son, Chad.
Coach Rock. Yeah, he got a tournament for his son. He can speak for himself.
Yeah. We got USA Boxing National Tournament coming up on December the 6th through the 13th. Action starts on December the 8th. I don't know if Chad will be boxing on the 8th or he'll be boxing on that Tuesday on the 9th. Typically get it by. He one of the top seeds. He got 8 seeds and stuff like. He's seeded in the top 8. Actually, he's actually seeded number 8. So, in a field of about 75 boxers. So we're gonna make it do what it do.
Don't forget his coach on the stream, man. Don't forget your boys, man.
I got it. It's gonna. I'm gonna have it on my IG. I'm gonna have a link on my IG.
What's your IG?
It's my IG is rock.pitts. But I'm gonna make sure I send BVO the link as well too. So y'all gonna get it. Y'all gonna have all of them.
We need that.
Oh.
You'll have a link as well as the you had a link as well as the bout sheet and stuff like that. So y'all can keep. It's still gonna be at night. You know what I'm saying? So he probably. I'll be honest with you. I doubt if he's gonna be fighting before 9:30. Might be 10 o'clock some nights, man.
Man, we up with it.
Especially when the tournament first starts out.
Man, just send that link, man. We on it.
I got you.
My guy.
Hey, I'll say this, man. Appreciate everybody coming through, man.
Smash the like on the way out.
Did you guys know fighting in Border Wars?
The what?
Say what now?
You hear me, Coach? Did you guys know fighting in Border Wars? I know Chad was talking about it. Did you guys fight?
Man, we were supposed to fight in Border Wars. Man, we had about 4 opponents drop out.
Yeah, they probably don't want to fight your son.
We got about 4 opponents drop out, so it get a little harder to get work these days, but it don't matter. We're gonna be where it count next week.
Oh
Hey,
man.
Oh, it's great. Great meeting you guys.
Hey,
Coach,
nice to see you, Tom.
And Reyes. Where are you from in the West Coast?
No, yeah, I'm in Las Vegas. If you guys have seen me before, BBO knows. I'm sometimes I'll jump on Claymore Rain's channel. Sometimes I'll jump on Johnny's channel at the Hangout Spot.
The Hangout Spot.
Yeah. I don't have like my own channel or nothing like that. Just been around a lot of these combat sports guys for a long time. Yeah, BVO. I tried, bro. I tried last week. It was like Thanksgiving week. It was kind of hard. Doctor's appointments, bro. I'm sorry, man.
You ever heard of Pedro Fernandez out there? He's in San Francisco. He's a radio guy. He's worked with Don King. Stitch knows him. No.
I the name definitely sounds familiar in the Bay. Because I was in the Bay when Stitch was in the Bay, and and then I came to Vegas. Like him too. So, but yeah,
Brooklyn, they get a swimming pool. I see what y'all did.
I'm gonna try. Yeah, this guy's the worst. I'm gonna try to get Pedro on. I'm gonna see if Pedro Fernandez come on this show with BVO. Pedro's he's a great character. Let's put it that way. But he knows Stitch, and Stitch they're good friends and stuff.
That's cool.
He does radio. I go on the radio with him on Sundays.
Oh, that's awesome. You, but I thought you're in the East Coast. You're going on a.
My friend of mine kind of linked us up, so he puts me on like 2 or 3 segments. It's a 2-hour radio show, and it's called Sports. It's on Sports Byline. It's in San Francisco, and it's
awesome.
On a lot of different satellite radios. So, but he's well known, probably mostly in the West Coast, but he worked with Don King and
right.
He's been around so many fighters and so many fights. He was a writer at first, and then he started doing radio.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely familiar with that name. I know he's written some articles. I didn't know that he had his own radio show now at Sports Byline.
The longest boxing radio show.
Over in
43 years, I think.
No, that's awesome, man. And then you're doing what's the subject for this week? Because you're probably going on tomorrow.
It's his show, so I'm like a guest, so he'll bring a segment, but it's called Ring Talk Worldwide.
Okay.
He'll bring up the topics. What I like to do is every week is bring up Devin Haney because he doesn't like Devin Haney. So we have definitely like a few minutes where we go back and forth on that because Devin Haney's from the Bay Area, so he's supposed to move for the Bay, and he doesn't do it. And he's kind of the same with Andre Ward too, but me and him have back and forth. It's fun.
That's funny. That sounds entertaining, man.
Yeah.
I like.
My bad. Go ahead. My bad.
No. I was gonna say, like, we always talk about this BVO. Like, to us, the most important thing is just for everybody, and mostly even casual sports fans, to start getting into watching boxing again. Because it is a beautiful sport, and it's just the hard part is so many things over the last 10, 15 years has messed it up in the U.S. that we're the ones that are behind. Everybody else is ahead of us. Japan is ahead of us. Ukraine is ahead of us. The UK is ahead of us. It's being shown on regular mainstream TV, like how the NFL is being shown. Versus for us, we still got to pay $80, bro, for Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz. Come on now, stop it.
Stop it. Crazy.
Hey,
the card is solid though. The card. I mean, they just one card got messed up with the steroid.
It was solid,
but it
was solid, Tom. But it's a Black Friday deal now, dude. It's got to be a $40 card, especially when I just paid $60 for the last card we just watched. Was amazing.
It's too much. No, I agree.
Yeah,
Thomas is rich. That's why he said Tommy and Price found a rich man.
So Tom, listen, I don't have a problem with supporting fighters. That's not my issue. My issue is that, and BVO. I don't want to go too long on this, but I've had this discussion before. How is it possible that in the USA, which is the only market, our prices are 3 times the amount that it is outside of the U.S. So if my ass drove up to Canada and I wanted to pay the same pay-per-view, it's $19.99. In the UK, it's all $19. Yes, this is one of the things I've always talked about is when you do pay-per-views outside of the U.S., there's so much less. And I don't know why the hell it's either free or
they're greedy over here. That's why.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
A couple of what the easy answer is right now is inflation, but the historical answer is that the dollar is worth more currency wise than the Canadian dollar or any other dollar or any other currency right now for the moment. So what happens is that you might get a fight for a cheaper price in another country because the currency doesn't transfer like that. So I think that's the simple answer. The other part about it is that football, basketball, take it football, basketball, baseball, they all have network deals, right? Like, they got network deals that pay them they put their information, to put their talent on their stations. Boxing doesn't have a network deal because they're all separated. So in other words, one of the things that I thought would have ended up happening would have been, all the majors and the middle of the road players would have came together and created like a 501c4 entity, right, to go and negotiate a network deal for their talent. I know a lot of people y'all don't realize is that the NBA, the NFL, you know, and as well as hockey, NHL, it's Major League Soccer. A lot of them are all housed on a 501c4 or C3 entity, which are nonprofit entities. So the league is nonprofit from that standpoint, but each team is a for-profit entity. But the network deal is what is with the league in and of itself. And then what like the network is paying $9 billion to the league a year to televise NFL games, then that $9 billion is then broken up between the 32 teams. But boxing just doesn't have an entity like that where they're going to actually just come together and just and pool these resources together and do a network deal. Like the UFC just got a network deal with
No, we understand what you're saying, prize fighter, but check this out, man. The pound is higher than the dollar.
Yeah.
So how come everybody who is using the pound currency is only paying $19.99 in pounds? So that's roughly about $23. Okay.
I mean, it's probably
but it's $80 or $60 just because you live in the U.S., bro. That has to do more with greed than it has to do with inflation, man.
It's probably got something to do with greed because like in the UK it's gonna be shown on Sky Sports.
Yep.
It's gonna be shown on Sky Sports, and
but that's my entire point. Is remember, man, I'm old, prize. So I'm an old man, and I remember when
you talking to Coach Rock.
Yeah. My bad. So check this out. I remember most people who watch football don't even realize that Monday Night Football theme, the one you always hear, that dun 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 dun, that was for boxing, bro. They started that when Sugar Ray Leonard was on ABC Wild World of Sports, and it's more synonymous with Monday Night Football now. But I'm like, nah, y'all. Back in the '80s, this shit was free. All of this was free. We were able to watch all these fights for free. And even in the 90s, we got USA Network, and that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, Friday night fights, Tuesday night fights.
Exactly.
They too young to remember Wild World of Sports, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. VVO, you too young for that. You don't know nothing about that, man.
All I remember is Howard Cosell. I used to watch the little tapes of him, Howard Cosell, doing the Worldwide of Sports. So I know a little bit.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say is that there was a time where baseball and boxing was the sport here in the U.S., right? And
that's true.
And in fact, right, it was a poor man's sport. Like, you didn't have to be rich to watch boxing. You actually, it was your demographic. Like, if you were middle class or poor, you were watching boxing because it was for the people. And somehow, and baseball,
baseball was cheap to go to
exactly, Tom. So somehow,
Philly
some
tickets
way,
cost nothing.
Yeah, somehow, some way, all of this became flipped. And then when people wonder, well, how come boxing's dead as a sport? It's like, no, it's not. Because how are they filling out 100,000 seats at Wembley Stadium or 70,000 seats for Conor Benn versus Chris Eubanks? Not even a title fight. It's because outside of the U.S., they're treated like sports people. They're treated like regular figures, and they're talked about on regular channels and radio and everything else. Doesn't it bother you a little bit, BVO, that, shout out to Jake Paul and all the great things he's done, but he's no Abdullah Mason. And yet Abdullah Mason becomes the youngest world champion in current American history right now. He's 21 years old. He's our youngest world champion. He did that shit beating one of the top fighters in the world in Sam Noakes in Riyadh when his ass came home. I don't remember Cleveland giving him no parade, or Ohio. I don't remember anybody talking about him. I don't remember Stephen A. Smith or any of the regular networks talking about this kid. And all I hear about is Jake Paul. So where's the problem at here?
You know what I will say from being in Cleveland? People don't believe me when I say this. Tiger Johnson is very popular here. Abdullah and his brothers are not very popular because, like, as they ascended, they was already in Houston. People remember them from being, I don't know if you guys got these people in your town, but they used to be the water boys. They would give water, they would sell waters in the sun.
We got water boys in Atlanta.
Yeah, but it helps. It also helps Tiger Johnson that he made the Olympic team. And that means something in a lot of places in the U.S. if you make the Olympics. So,
right.
That's a great.
Yeah.
Man, the Masons still live in Cleveland.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that Tiger Johnson got a little bit more publicity because he made the Olympic team.
They mainly in Houston now. Jared Anderson. Most of the fighters that's with Jay Prince, they usually are in Houston. From what I remember, I know they got a Cleveland number, but I know they live in Houston most of the time.
Gotcha.
They live in Houston most of the time.
And Tom, I'm speaking more to the fact that this kid did something historical, and when he came back home, no one cared. And then the same group of people will sit there and complain about, whatever. They'll complain about T.O. They'll complain about Devin Haney. It's like, when are you guys going to stop believing in? When are the casuals going to stop believing in propaganda and start actually just researching the sport themselves so that they can have their own minds? That would literally be like if I created a Raider Nation network BVO, and all I talked about is how good the Raiders are, and regular people believed me. Right. The reason why,
that starts with politics as well too, because a Cleveland-born fighter, Cleveland-raised fighter, the Cleveland mayor or a politician's got to get that in place. I'm positive because here in New York and in the Bronx, forget it. The Little League team, freaking Paulino Little League team years ago that cheated, got a parade, and didn't even win the thing. And Daniel Monte he was 14, So it all
he got popped for age, Tom.
He got popped for age. Sorry, he lied at his age. He was 14, Daniel Monte. And I'm sure that whoever the Brooklyn borough president is, if Shushu was to win a title, they better do something for Shushu out there. Because
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Because they didn't do it for Hitchens. I believe they didn't do it for Teofimo. And Teofimo really based down in Florida. Hitchens lives in Jersey pretty much. But if Shushu wins, I would bet that they would do something for Shushu in Brooklyn from where he's from, because he grew up and raised there. They got a documentary on him and how he came about in boxing. So they better do something. But I think it all depends. It all starts at the top. At the top, and these politicians, they should do that. And I didn't know they didn't do that for Abdullah Mesa. They should.
You know why they won't do it, man. You know why they won't do it? Because I went to New York, where Shushu's from, and when Xander Zayas came up, I thought Muhammad Ali was behind it.
But Shushu had a lot of supporters as well.
Keep it. No, he not like Xander did. He was
not like Xander did, but you didn't go to the fights where there was like 50-50 where they were.
Keep in mind this: when Xander won, Tommy and all the other Puerto Ricans was crying. That's exactly what was that. They all was in there crying. You can smell the rice. You can smell the beans. They was having a ball, man. They was all excited to see Xander win. He even had that John Travolta cup, man. That wasn't no accident.
Xander from Florida. Ain't Xander from Florida?
Yeah, he's from Florida, but because he's Puerto Rican, it's a big Puerto Rican population here. The Puerto Ricans, they support the fighters here in New York. It's always
why did y'all cry when he was speaking in Spanish when he won?
That's crazy.
I tell y'all what. When my son pro, and we put 5,000, 10,000 people in at Forbes Arena on Morehouse campus on his debut, y'all gonna know a star been born.
Yeah, I'm pulling up.
That's gonna happen in Atlanta, Georgia. I guarantee that.
All I'm gonna say is this, man.
Get your hand out of my pocket! What you doing in my pocket, nigga?
Oh man, that's diabolical. Come on, BBO.
So guys, it's been great. It's nice meeting you guys, Coach Fitz
Yeah.
and Reyes Boxing. I appreciate you guys, man. I
Appreciate
gotta bounce.
everybody.
And thanks BBO for letting me on. Salute to everybody on the panel.
Hey Tom, follow me on IG. All right, follow me at Reyes Boxing on IG. I'll
Reyes
connect
Boxing.
with you.
I'll do
Yeah.
it.
All right, cool. Thanks, bro.
You got it, bro. Be safe, guys.
Peace.
Hey, we safer when Tommy leaves. I'll tell you that right now.
That's wild.
When he leaves. But check this out, Red Ball. I gotta tell you this before we go. So I went out to eat with Tommy, me and my beautiful wife, and Tommy took us out, and we think about to go have a nice time. We go to a place, eat good. Some crazy ladies up giving a whole concert of soap opera music. So I eat my food, sitting back. Then I look up, and a rat sitting next to me with a bib on, talking about how you enjoy your meal. So that's a true story, man. That's a true story.
Man.
We got to have you as a regular guest like you go everywhere. You got to make sure you stop by the doghouse, man. We got to have you over here too, man.
Yeah, no. It was fun. Again, timing wise, it was just rough. BVO, just always let me know when something's going on, and if I could pop in, I'll do so. And yeah, man. No, it's just it's always good content, BVO, and I know you push it out and everything. So keep doing your thing. Opinions are always just opinions. So don't get too mad when people mess with you about your own your own opinion. It's all love, bro. It's all love.
Hey, because you know what Tio do?
I really bury motherfuckers.
I ain't gotta worry about.
Oh man.
That's wild.
Hey, my last thing, BVO, before I go is Tio Shakur, I really hope number one, it lives up to the hype of the fight, and it's the first big fight of the year here in the US. Because it's in New York City, right? And secondly, man, I hope these fucking networks like, Good Morning America and all these other regular mainstream casual networks actually interview these guys and cover them, because we need people, regular NFL watching people and college football watching people, to want to get into boxing. And until we get that, man, DAZN ain't gonna be making too much money with their $60 pay-per-view, man. That shit's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
That, man. Just make sure you do this, man.
I got $40.
I'm good.
All right.
Oh man.
We out of here, y'all. Appreciate everybody coming through. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.